One.
Hello, boys! We're back for episode 437 of the MMA Analysis podcast. We're not, it's not the last dance. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing our tango. We're not done. We're not getting investigated for illegal gambling rackets. We're back. I think it's legal. We got another episode of we'll call it a
Jerry will let us know if it's legal or not.
Someone will let us know. Yes, but we're back. We're going back to the vault. This time to Pride.
It's the earliest,
Brad's here. We got New Sean. We got Mr. Bluegrass. But Brad, set the stage for where we are in MMA at this time and what we're going to be in store for tonight.
Geez, so 2004 in MMA was a fun time. This was like just before I actually got into MMA because I got deep into it in like the winter of 2004 after I went away to university. And like obviously I wasn't going to class and shit, so I got into MMA instead. But this was like Halloween-ish in 2004, and now we think back as like Chuck was the big light heavyweight at the time, but this is back in the day when Wanderlei was like almost definitely the best light heavyweight in the world. So that was going on. You had like the Pride heavyweight division was way better than the UFC heavyweight division. So what we're going to watch tonight is basically the peak of MMA at the time. And we're going to get a good card out of it. I'll probably throw some random facts in here as we go to each fight, but that pretty much sets the stage. Like, this is the pinnacle of MMA in 2004.
Was this the peak of Pride?
I'm not sure if this exactly was the peak of Pride, because they had their 2003 tournament was huge at the time, and then at the same time as this event was going on, they also had their 2004 heavyweight tournament, which at this point looked like it was going to be even better than the middleweight. And it ended with like an accidental cut between Fedor and Big Nog, and didn't turn out to be all that great. But at this point, like, Pride was kicking the shit out of the UFC, and they looked like they were doing bigger and bigger things every year. So, it's a very, very different time from what we know now.
They had a run during this period that was just amazing. I remember being probably more hyped for these than I was even for UFCs at that time. Like Brad said, they had easily the best heavyweights going around. Fedor was already Fedor. Crow Cop was one of the scariest men on the planet. Coleman, Randleman, all those guys were still fairly decent. And then Brad touched on Wanderlei. I don't think people realize just how great that guy was, especially at this time. He arguably was the best fighter on the entire planet at this time. What was it, Brad? Like 18 or 20 straight, something right around there.
I'd have to look up the exact number, but yeah, it was huge, and like all against top. Well, not all against top guys. They threw in a Japanese can here and there, but
they also threw in guys like Crow Cop, and he was in these open weight tournaments and shit. The dude literally fought anybody they put in front of him, and
on the same night, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and you talk about like just a scary dude. Prime Wanderlei, I think is probably the scariest dude that MMA might have ever seen. I mean, the dude fought to like fucking hurt you, man. He didn't. Guys don't fight like a lot of them don't even fight like that anymore. It's a little more measured, and they're trying to win.
It's a reckless approach.
Wanderlei threw down. He didn't care what he went there with Rampage Jackson at his prime, and they literally just threw down, just threw hammers. So. Yeah, great time in Pride.
And Rampage was a monster at this time.
Yep.
Like if you were watching MMA when Rampage came over to the UFC, like he was sold up as this absolute monster. And this is around the time that he really gained that reputation, because this was the fight after he KO'd Arona with like the power bomb.
Power bomb.
Yep.
Yep.
So this was the peak of Rampage.
And
Like he'd gone through guys. He beat Chuck, and then he only lost to. The argument was he only lost to Vanderlei the first time because it was his second fight that night.
Yeah.
Like he had to beat Chuck, and then he had to beat Vanderlei. So this was an enormous fight.
I think like around that time, like the 205 division. I mean, it was good everywhere. It was good.
It was the peak. Yeah.
But man, like prime Shogun and fucking Vanderlei and Rampage, Arona is not a bad fighter. That guy was really good too. Like the 205 at this time was just spectacular, man. It was big boys with power that had skills and fucking some stamina. And yeah, Pride kind of showcased 205 like as good as you could with the ring and the 10-minute first rounds and the soccer kicks. Like guys showed out in that division in Pride at this time. It was great.
Yeah, Pride 28 was about 2 years before I started into UFC. Got in around like the Tough 4 time, end of 2006. So I was kind of late to this game. So I actually haven't seen this one ever. I mean, obviously, yeah, like I've seen obviously most of the finishes in GIF form and stuff like that, but never actually watched it. So yeah, it should be a good one.
The Vanderlei one, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not even gonna spoil it, but it's even better, like just than the GIF, which is great.
Yeah.
It's even better in the context of the fight because it was a good fight too.
Yeah.
So now, Brad, kind of take us through what this card is on paper. Like, what is the attraction here? What was on this card?
So the weird thing about Pride is that throughout an entire year, because they would do the tournaments and they would do the tournaments in like their real divisions, you only got like 1 or 2 title defenses a year. So this was Vanderlei on that ridiculous win streak that Wes was talking about, actually defending his title in a one-off fight against Rampage, who he'd already had a competitive fight with and had the power bomb KO over Arona. So that was headlining it. Then below that, you had Crow Cop and Josh Barnett.
Wow.
And like these are two guys, like Josh Barnett could probably still be like a top 10 heavyweight if he was fighting right now, because heavyweight's terrible.
He was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So these are two guys that have been at the top of MMA for a long, long time, and they were at the top back when this fight was taking place. So I believe that Barnett had just lost to Big Nog in the heavyweight tournament that was going on.
He took Big Nog deep, though, I believe, didn't he?
Oh, those fights were great. Between those guys. And then he had also, Crow Cop just got knocked out by Randleman in the tournament, which was like
Kevin Randleman.
At the time, that was the shocker of all shockers. That was like bigger than GSP Sarah in terms of somebody knocking somebody out.
That the one, like, there's not many, but the one really good fucking Morrow call. If you, as much as I don't really like Morrow, that was a fantastic call to the finish of that fight. It is fucking legendary. It really is.
All right.
Yeah. So we've got those two massive fights. Dan Henderson, we've got in a light heavyweight fight. Mark Hunt and Alistair Overeem, and the fight we're going to start with is Little Fedor, or sorry, not Little Fedor, Baby Fedor, against.
He was Lloyd Irvin before Lloyd Irvin.
Syphilis Fedor.
Shit,
Yeah.
Fedor.
I mean, that
Rapey Fedor.
the guy could have been good, man. Like it's crazy. Like
Hey, at this point, what he lost to Krokop, and that's like
I
pretty
think
much it.
Igor had beat him too, like one of his first couple fights, right? Bochanskin. Didn't Igor beat him like real early, like his third or fourth fight, maybe?
No, Mirko
don't think
was
so.
his first loss at
Oh,
Pride,
yeah,
Pride
okay, yeah.
Final Conflict.
Yeah, it was Mirko that caught him with another one of those kicks.
Yeah.
Because
So
it seems like the tallest dude to ever get head kicked, knocked out in an MMA fight.
Ended up being pretty decent though, but then he's just
He's
he's a nutbag, man.
Yep. Mob
Right.
shit, fucking Hep B shit. Whew, whew. Yeah. On that note, let's get into it.
Yeah. So, Sean, I think we were gonna push through the early part of the telecast, or pretty long telecast. So
Yeah, we're skipping a couple of the first fights just so we can get it in decent time. So we're gonna start with the Emelianenko Thompson fight. If you're watching on Fight Pass, you can just click like it highlights it. It has like kind of thumbnails where you can hit it. And we're 50 minutes 12 seconds in. And then Jay, if you want to give a count.
yeah, just give for folks that are watching live, just give them a couple seconds. So again, 50-12 on the timestamp to start. So we'll start it in 3. All right, I'll wait for Wes.
I'm good.
I was
I'm
like,
good.
oh, he's good.
I showed this before.
I'm
but I
looking.
didn't
I'm
show
grabbing.
That was
it
very
now.
good.
I want Lance to feel bad that this beer is on the show and he's not on the show.
Damn, dude.
That's cool. Speaking of wrestling,
We
Brad,
got some window.
I do a weekly call with a group of team members, and every week I have one guy that wears a different wrestling shirt. So we're keeping that as a tradition until as long as the work from home continues. So he's on 5 weeks of wrestling shirts. So it's good.
Hey,
Anyway,
I'm just glad I've got a teleconference instead of video conference at my job. So
it's fun. It has its moments. Anyway, 50-12 is the timestamp. We'll start that in 3, 2, 1. Click.
Deadly.
awesome.
How fucking scary though was James Thompson before we
Look
knew
at him.
how much of a bum he was?
Look at him. He's literally shaking.
He's shaking.
And look at his
Like,
opponent.
Alex is just like a tubby, tall
The-
bitch.
with
the
no
fucking
emotion.
guy-
It's
He
literally
looks like
the
he's on
opposite.
He looks like he's on antidepressants or
Yeah.
some
The
shit.
guy
He's
was
just sad
fucking-
as
James
fuck.
Thompson's
There
on
you
the
go.
Cody Garbrandt mode of just like shaking. He's in public. He just wants to fight somebody. He's just shaking. Can't wait to get the itch out.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, like not ever
Look at
seen him
this.
fight. That guy is one of the scariest motherfuckers that you could be looking at. Like, holy fuck! Could you imagine him showing up trying to collect $100 from you?
That's a pretty good stare down.
That's
Jesus
wow.
Christ!
His traps are huge. Oh man,
he's massive,
steroid era
bro.
is a different era.
He's not shaking
Steroid
anymore.
era is
Not
the
anymore.
best era. Best.
Look at it! Look at his shit. He was wild, dog. He'd come at you too.
Oh, it just comes
Yep.
out. Like
Wow.
a tackle. What the
Bang!
fuck?
That's the
Oh,
problem.
sloppy though.
That's the problem with
Dude.
James.
Oh,
Oh, he's
Oh my god, what is James Thompson doing?
He's an
it's
idiot.
over.
Was he known for this, Brad? He just
Yeah.
Did the ref stop it?
Yeah.
That's what he
Why?
did.
That's
It
what he
wasn't
does. He
over.
just comes out guns blazing.
Ran across the ring and tried to fucking mow you down, and most of the time he got
It
caught.
wasn't over. Early
What
stop.
was the thing though? They used to say like ding and dash or whatever.
Oh right. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Look, his ears are still in good shape at this point. Trust me,
Yeah.
he
That's-
gets boxed up many a times going forward.
Kimbo
Yep.
fight is the only thing I know him from. He didn't fight like this in that fight, that's for sure.
That
Yeah,
was an
he
early
was-
stoppage.
He was tired of getting fucking just demolished. Like I said, you see his ears by the time he got to Kimbo, he took a lot of fucking shots.
Who's the
by the
referee
time
in
he got
this
to Kimbo.
fight? Some Japanese ref, huh?
It was what was Pride's main ref? bro?
Yuji Shimada.
Shimada. Yeah, he let you die
Why
like
do I know
Steve
that?
Mazzagatti.
Not here though. Definitely not here. Well,
It was early
if
there.
this guy repped the
He
Chris
was-
Weidman,
hey,
Luke
at
Rockhold
least
fight.
Shimada was entertaining about it though.
Yeah.
Like Mazzagatti was a dick. Shimada was like, "Oh, was it? Was
Why is there a trophy?
Like, what the fuck? Look at that dude.
They did a
Straps,
trophy all the
man.
time.
Because you get your big check like you won the lottery. You
Yeah.
get a little trophy.
Oh,
and
okay.
shit.
Like it's Happy Gilmore. Oh,
Any
Like,
fight doesn't matter. Cool.
A few years ago, watching Mark Coleman have to sell his damn Pride tournament trophy was rough,
oh,
man.
that was sad. Yeah.
Because you can see how much that was like one of the last things that dude got rid of. You can see how much that shit meant to
That's
those
sad.
dudes.
I don't know
That
how
was
he had
like
so
that was one of the
much-
best
I mean, he
bounce
was
back moments in
making
MMA.
some big money in the UFC.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of money, but I think for the Grand Prix he won like 150K.
Yes, he was making pretty good money in the UFC, though. I don't know
he
how he was able to
nailed him with that
how was he
left hook right on the way in too.
I mean,
eh?
they weren't making like great money. Like
He
that
was making
doesn't-
like $750 in the UFC. He was making like $750 a fight.
Who?
Nah. Back Coleman didn't. He was on the early
Mark Hunt.
Oh, I'm
I
talking Mark Coleman.
thought you said Mark Hunt. I thought you said
Nah,
Mark.
hell, Mark Coleman wished he saw
Coleman's a different
one hunt check. Coleman wished he saw one hunt check, and that dude
Yeah,
was
that's
like
true.
one of the
Yeah.
originators of this
Hunt
shit.
might be one of the most overpaid fighters. Well, I shouldn't say Mark Hunt's overpaid.
No.
He put in some.
Nah,
he put
Mark
classics
Hunt has
for
put
the
in
fan.
some of like if you're making a list of like the top 10 heavyweight fights ever, Mark Hunt's probably got like 3 of them.
Mark
But still,
Mark,
that might be
Mark Hunt
ridiculous
was
in the
actually
UFC.
one of the
Hunt-
The Bigfoot
Hunt
fight, the
Bigfoot Silva one
JDS
is
fight.
a legend
He's
fight.
got like the Crow Cop and Vonderlei fights and all this shit that he did in Pride. Like
Hunt's like probably one of the few fighters that was actually compensated about right for what he put out. You know,
Did they
Yeah.
He paid a lot of
how much
money
these
though.
guys used to
I mean,
make
there's
back
no.
then?
I mean, he made millions. I don't know.
these guys made more than UFC.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
they
Like,
announce it
sure.
though? Like, was it a known thing what all these guys were making? Up front, anyway.
nah, because
I
they
don't know.
had
I'm
There's a
not
check
sure
there.
that it
You
was
gotta-
like
there's a
officially
number.
announced anywhere because it was all paid for by the Yakuza. But
yeah, there was a lot of under the table
Oh,
money.
fucking Reem.
And we're not even talking about the guys that got paid to take dives and
this
shit.
is skinny Reem
Skinny
at this
Reem,
point.
baby. Skinny Reem.
And Reem's a good-looking guy.
I'm
Oh.
right around the price
Yeah.
to where Reem started getting big. That's around where I'm at.
He's
Yeah.
like,
When
dude,
did Chuck?
this
Oh,
shit ain't
yeah.
working. We need to bulk up and hit the
Chuck
roads.
went over in the 2003 Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when did he come back?
Dana brought him over just
Well,
for
he was
that.
always a
Yeah.
UFC guy, but they brought him over for that because they thought like he wasn't the UFC champion at that point.
Right.
It was still
Dana was his manager kind of at that point too. Still
That
owner,
Reem
but still
scar.
Yeah.
managing.
That Reem scar is very
So-
pronounced when he's skinny Reem.
his career is that he like comes up in the UFC and then everyone thinks he's going to be the guy to beat Tito, but he doesn't get a fight against Tito. He ends up fighting Randy and Randy beats his ass
I
in
remember.
the first fight.
Mm.
So then they're like, well, if Randy's the champion and we send Chuck over to Japan and he wins the 2003 Grand Prix, then we'll look even better. But then he got stopped by Rampage.
Yeah,
So-
listening to Dana, they had Dana on commentary during that fight, and listening to him was fucking.
He's like
gold.
weeping.
Yeah.
Oh, he
no.
loves. Chuck's
He
got to
was-
be his favorite fighter of all time, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
It's not even close, probably. He had a thing for Chuck like nobody.
Yeah.
Never
'Cause
mind
Chuck
Ronda.
made
Never
him a
mind.
shitload
Never
of
mind his
money.
money trains. He just he
Yeah,
had a. He
I
had
mean,
a thing for,
Well,
he had a
Chuck
thing
made
for
him
it.
a shitload of money. Chuck made him
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
a million
that's true.
pay-per-view buys as much
That's
as
true.
anybody.
That's true. But even so, like
mean,
he had a special place in his heart for Chuck.
Chuck was
He
the
still does.
last. Chuck was the last guy that Dana quit giving a check to. You know, like all the guys that got checks when they sold, Chuck was the last guy that Dana was giving a check to.
No, Forrest.
He loved that dude.
But
Yeah, Forrest
Anyway.
does actual work for him. Chuck was
Yeah.
like Chuck had a title. No, I mean Forrest puts out a lot of shit on social media. He does.
I
a
know.
lot
I puts out a few videos.
it's something though. Chuck was
That's
literally
true.
it's
getting
more than a
check
lot of
for
people
Marty.
do.
Yeah, that's a fair. I understand your point.
What's the backstory on Kanahara?
He was just kind of like a
Just a
Japanese heavyweight. He used to go around and like he fought Crow Cop on a Pride card and actually went to decision. So
Yeah,
like
he
you never
took
see
a-
highlights of him losing because he actually made it to a decision with Crow Cop at the time. But he's been around forever. He fought in all like the rings tournaments and stuff like that.
1998
So
he started.
yeah,
So
like
yeah,
he never had a great record. I think
Yeah.
he actually fought Matt Hughes at one point. So
Yeah, he
we're
did.
talking about a guy that could fight at welterweight, who's fighting a bunch of like heavyweights. And in this case, I guess
There were so many
Overeem was still a light
Japanese-
heavyweight.
yeah.
So many Japanese guys that did that, man. They were
They just
they're
stepped in. They took
some of the toughest fucking dudes you will ever see.
Just take the money
Yep.
and fight wherever.
take the money, take the beating, and you're good. Man, can you imagine how awesome it would be if Overeem was allowed to come out with the hammer in the UFC when he was fucking jacked up beyond belief?
Yeah, the UFC just generics everything out, and nobody has any personality, no cool walkouts. That fucking Tito one is ridiculous. I watched it again. Somebody retweeted it this week or something.
That was me,
Yeah.
I think.
Uh,
Oh, shit. Yeah, up
And then-
until like
okay, go ahead.
40s. I was just going to say, up until like the UFC 40s, they did all like the unique entrances and the ramp and everything like that. And then it's gone.
Yeah, they want to pack as many people in there as possible, so they're not
Can't say I blame
closing
him.
down half the stadium.
Yeah, they was
worth it.
trying to look professional and shit too. They still had problems with some commissions and shit like that, so they were trying to.
They were trying to get as far from like the WWF thing as possible. They're like, oh, they use a ramp, we can't.
It wasn't a good thing that they got away from that shit.
He's coming out in a Ken outfit from Street Fighter. It looks
Yeah,
like.
that's pretty dope. So how hyped up was Overeem going into that Chuck fight? Was
He
like
not-
had a little hype on him, but
He
they
was
didn't know he was
still
that good.
pretty young.
yeah,
light
he's still really
heavyweight.
like I was just looking at his record and
He was
like,
still pretty much considered a really good kickboxer at that point, I believe.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't
He's a
have a ground game.
kickboxer. He'd gone over and he'd done some like ADCC grappling tournaments and stuff like that. So he was a decent grappler, but nobody really looked at him all that seriously at that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
There-
So
'Cause
Was there
he
lines
had
on
a
this
12
fight?
if there was, I wasn't betting them at this point.
Yeah, this is pretty early.
I mean, this seems like a huge mismatch on paper.
Well, yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah,
but we also
going
don't
into
know. Like
this.
that's why I was asking, like, what was the deal with Overeem? Because he was running, like, he had a 12-fight win streak. Obviously, who knows who they were against? But going into that Chuck fight when he lost,
Yeah.
I would think he was a massive underdog to Chuck going into
Yeah.
that fight.
oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, not like huge,
Well,
but it would be
yeah.
like 600, 400.
Yeah,
something
that's
like
what.
that.
Yeah, that's what I agree with that. I mean, Chuck was a star in that shit even at that
Yeah.
point.
And even losing to Randy, you're like, well, that guy
Yeah.
he was the UFC heavyweight champion. He lost to the UFC heavyweight champion and then a steroid UFC heavyweight champion. And it was all fucked up over in the UFC at that point. And that's part of what made Pride's heavyweight division so much stronger at the time, too, is that there's so much controversy around the UFC.
This dude looks like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, Pride almost had an aura about it like the UFC does now, to where guys were like, I got to fight in Pride. That's, that was almost a rite of passage in that kind of time. It was that good. The promotion was that good. I think the money was better. Everything was better at that time over there.
I
Yeah, there
think
was an aura about
that
For sure.
this guy that's fighting Overeem right now had actually fought Overeem's brother a couple times, too. And that was part of this fight as well.
God, man.
oh, knees to the head.
I
Knees
just
on the
never-
ground are
never under-
Oh.
it has to be in fight. That just still gets me today how that point of attack is not in fighting.
I
Like,
don't know why he
Yeah.
went for that submission.
you want to talk
he
about
had
guys
his
stalling and
guillotine was
shit?
nasty back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
All of that stalling against the cage and shit and stuff, like dumb little single leg takedowns and shit, go away. You let guys start throwing fucking knees like that. And that's part of it. I could get not soccer kicks. I can totally understand people not wanting that, but not having knees on the ground is the dumbest shit ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's so many fights where, like, it doesn't happen to me anymore because I don't even look at fights that way. I'm just like, whatever. Fuck it. It is what it is. But a fight that you're watching, you're just like, man, if this fight had knees to the head on the ground, it would be so much better.
And it'll be over already, and that'd be a good thing.
It's not even it would be over. It would be better because it would just do something. It would change the position, right?
It would stop a lot of stalling in certain positions on the mat.
Yeah.
Like wrestlers are starting to kind of get stalled a lot and shit. I think that would wrestlers would have an advantage again. I think. Just guys with a little wrestling that can control guys' upper body and be able to throw those knees would change shit dramatically. And it's not a soccer kick. Like, I get people not wanting soccer kicks. I don't care.
I don't really get that either. Like, whatever.
If you can
kick him in the head, if you can kick him in the head on the feet, why can't you kick him in the head on the ground?
I get it. I agree with that. I get some people's argument. Just the sight of a dude on all fours getting laid into the head. That
I guess one you're kind of prepared for, and one is like completely like, all I guess that's
I can get it. I can get the argument. There's no argument for not having knees on the ground. There's just none for it. Like what's worse, fucking Vanderlei's clinch with a knee straight up to your fucking face, or one on the ground, like,
or if he can't get that much leverage.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jay, at this time, like, wrestling and positional control wasn't as big a thing in MMA.
No,
and you were rewarded more for going for a submission and getting it than you would for just
because I guess if you lost it, I guess it you wouldn't be you probably wouldn't be stuck for 3 minutes on the ground on your back.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, this is a longer round, so there's more time to maneuver.
They're so deadly.
That's awesome.
Then you can't just sit and turtle, man.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta move. You gotta switch position. Yeah, that's how fighting should be.
Yep.
And I think back then too, like Brad was saying with the wrestling, there was so many more submissions in Pride too, because guys went for them more, and then like the wrestling wasn't as refined over there. Like
or the submission defense.
Not a lot.
And also the scoring was way different. Like if you went for stuff, you got points instead of just laying on top of a guy.
Kind of how it should be now.
It should be.
I don't think they do it exactly like that though. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Reem was fucking nasty, man.
He should just finish the ground and pound at this point.
He was always good. It's just like then he got good and
bigger.
Yoked.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be honest there. You got big.
Uber Reem was just. I mean, he's like he's TRT Vitor, like those two.
Oh,
man.
He's on that list. Yeah,
Uber Reem was probably the best fighter in like, I guess, like light heavyweight or bigger that never won a title in the UFC. He should have won a title.
Heavyweight Reem.
He should have won a title.
100%. He should have absolutely had a title. I mean.
He
was close.
No, he tapped.
Our boy Bo. Hope you're preparing for the draft.
Which one?
Hey, he's giving me some bets.
Oh boy, here we go.
I got a whole sheet, man. I bet what
our boy BR is suggesting a Strike Force card as well.
What's that, man?
I guess we could. Didn't we already do one?
Yeah, we did.
We did maybe we could maybe do a Strike Force. We'll see.
Oh yeah, we
did one.
No,
they just had the anniversary of the Nashville shoot.
See, Derek knows. Derek knows for sure.
I'm not looking at the chat, so others will have to respond.
Like he's saying Stipe tapped, which we all know.
Oh, shit. Derek said, according to Tapology, Chuck was only minus 180 to Reem. Reem was plus 140. Yeah, that's
So that
surprising.
shows you even how highly regarded Reem was back then.
Yeah, that's
Chuck
what I was
was
thinking,
Chuck was the guy until he lost to Randy. So
Yeah. I mean, look at him, dude. I
mean,
eye test means a lot, man.
like
he's the type of guy that
annihilating
could.
this dude. And this guy's basically just like, hey, I went to decision with Krokop because I'm a really tough Japanese dude. I'm gonna go to decision with you too.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fair.
look
Fair.
at Reem's
Take
physique.
damage.
He could have always been like a guy 220 easily, but then you give him some of that good and some horse meat, and you're talking like
257. Yeah.
260, 270 and shit.
This actually doesn't feel like a 10-minute round because stuff is actually happening.
Yeah.
Because Reem's
It's
putting
pretty
a
long.
beating,
It's pretty long. Now. I got
beating on that guy.
Yeah, yes.
Well, see, that was the thing about Pride too. Like
He just keeps pulling guard.
those
Why
10
is he
minutes
doing
first
that?
round.
He's doing a
Look,
Ryan
look at
Hall.
Reem's slice through it too.
Like those 10-minute first rounds rarely felt like 10 minutes because you had to have action in Pride.
Yep.
If you weren't, you were literally getting fined. They were taking your money.
Yep. That's the best way to do it. Like, it's completely arbitrary and actually bullshit, but also
Yeah.
got the best results of any
Yeah.
they tried. Yeah, we should shout out our boy BMR because I think he's the one that suggested this card.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, he's our good James Vick fucking coma video maker.
We'll have to get him to
baby.
put
YMCA.
that video together we were talking about
Oh
for
yeah,
our special event.
Yeah. That might be happening
that's
depending on
a
what's going to happen later.
that's a hell of an idea. It's going to be hard to get to watch for other people, but
Yeah. Reem's throwing like 7 flying knees in this fight already. It's like 8 minutes into the fight.
How many times is what's his name pulled guard already? It's got to be like 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Oh, the
Oh,
stomp while holding the ropes. That's deadly.
some of my favorite like just
This isn't Yuji Shimada.
scenes of
we'll see him
Pride
later
or
on.
guys doing that Shogun flying through the air on some guy like that is some of my favorite memory scenes of that shit. Even Sakuraba was just ridiculous.
Do I still have that? Oh, I had that as my phone background for like a decade. There's Sakuraba and Hoist fight or punch. But yeah, the Shogun one, I think it's from when he fought Little Nog. Oh,
He's got one against a Japanese guy early too. That's like almost
Straight at the
perfect.
mount.
It's not going to end well here.
Jesus.
yeah,
Look-
he had a like Akira Shoji or somebody like that.
Yeah, I think yep, somebody like that. And it was like perfect. It was almost like a fucking like
yeah, I
in
know the
midair.
exact picture that you're talking about. It
Yellow
almost looks
trunks or something.
like splatter coming at the camera in the picture.
Yeah.
Reem's got to throw some harder punches here.
Look, just think Reem at this point too is still training at a kickboxing gym.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, but look at his ground game at this point. That like
Well, his ground game is like, I'm not training with good ground guys, but I'm going and fighting
Yep.
and losing in good ground tournaments and learning from those guys. And it's working.
Yeah, I don't think ATT existed at this point.
Oh, sure it did.
look at that.
Did it?
Look at that heel to the yeah 2004 ATT was
2004?
yeah They was
It's
definitely
a
around
lot,
there.
15 years ago, 20 almost.
yeah they've been around since then.
Nice kick
Yeah.
to the head while he's on his back. Because that's
Yeah, that heel to the side of the head. That was fucking. That was awesome.
You can do shit like that, though.
Alistair.
Yeah, I'm going back to Kanehara's record, and he fought Overeem's brother twice, Valentine.
Oh, yeah. Valentine over him.
He fought like Jeremy Horn and Babalu, Dan Henderson.
I like Horn. Horn was underrated.
Yeah, Horn had that
ATT was founded in 2001.
Okay.
There you go.
Horn
had that choke against Chuck, where Horn was on the bottom and he got the arm triangle, and it was like the first time ever that somebody got an arm triangle from bottom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Against Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Horn was pretty good back in the day.
Horn gave Frank Shamrock a shitload of trouble.
Yep. He just never evolved at all. His wrestling never got fucking.
He was
good.
A couple generations.
Yeah.
He was just a submission grappler.
Yeah.
And then guys started realizing how to defend submissions and stopping shitty takedowns and
Things
shit.
evolved, exactly.
Yep.
Or how to lock up
watching.
There's different elements.
Watching that shit from
Brad, how many beers have you gone through already? Are you have like 3 different beers and you're just switching them off?
did that say
No.
hops and robbers?
Yeah, hops
That's
and
great.
robbers.
That's one. The beer game always allows for some classics.
How long was
I feel like Brad picks his beers based on the name of them, though.
Or just
Hell yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's
Why
one of those.
would Brad choose beers any differently?
Yeah,
than based on the name.
Right?
Brad's like,
Alright, here we go.
smell them.
They used to do that the 2-minute break between the 10-minute round and the second round, which was always a good idea. I appreciate that.
What were the
Have a
length
little
of
bit more
championship
coming
fights,
out.
though? Were championship fights the same length?
10.
I think championship
5,
fights
right?
were 10-5-5, and some other fights might have just been 10-5. But then some other fights
were
were
only
also
3
10-5-5.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
lower weight, the Bushido cards were 10 and 5.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, but I'm just talking for title fights.
Yeah, I think they still did 10-5-5 is how they did title
That's
fights.
only 20 minutes compared to
Yeah.
the 25 in the UFC.
Yeah,
eh?
10 is
Yep.
But that 10-minute first round was just different. It
Yeah.
changed. It
It's
changed
weird.
it.
It's different.
It changes the dynamic totally.
Also, the scoring system changed everything.
Well,
totally.
that's the thing. Like, you can't really do
Yeah.
it.
Superior scoring system.
Oh,
You can't do it with a 10-9 system, obviously.
You don't need it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Don't even want a 10-9 system.
I mean, this,
can you
This is how
imagine a
fights
guy
should
like
be.
5 years from this fight getting caught in Overeem's clinch and taking like 4 knees and surviving?
And being 180 pounds and then like this
Right.
fucking guy like 170
Like,
pounds. and
yeah.
shit.
That's right.
This guy fought Matt Hughes.
No.
fuck. I remember
He's
watching
just-
Reem just knee some Asian dude to oblivion on a New Year's Eve card.
Nice.
I forget which fucking. I gotta figure out
what
which.
Reeman in K1 was just
It
man.
might have been it was a dynamite card.
He's got some
He
some
need-
EKOs that are fucking ridiculous in
He-
K1.
He need Fujita.
I think
That
I was
nasty.
actually during Reams. Oh no, it wasn't during Reams. It was during the K1 that Krokop won, where Chris, our Winnipeg buddy from the chat, we were like sitting in a hotel room watching that, waiting to go to GSP Diaz.
Oh, damn.
Wow. That's a
pretty
while
dope.
back.
You went to that fight?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Oh god damn.
Oh, those knees are just so brutal, even back then.
Oh. And you just can't
Man.
finish them. It's so frustrating.
Oh, that guy's fucking tough, man.
But the ref could have
I want to
stepped in.
look.
He's not
I
doing
need to
it.
see this record to see if he's ever been like knocked out.
I mean, he went 3 with Crow Cop when Crow
He
Cop was
probably got
just
paid for each minute he lasted. He's like that fucking Japanese mob shit. He's like, we need a
God.
full
So his
fight. We'll pay
first
you for every
actual-
minute you last.
His first stoppage that wasn't a ref or doctor stop it, or sorry, a corner or doctor stoppage was the fight after this one, where
my god.
in Shogun stomped his face out. And that was like peak
Oh.
Shogun. Not even quite peak Shogun.
The ref just stands there and watches, like no big deal.
He is fucked up.
This
Yeah.
this guy's eating dinner now with a fork with a cork on the end of it. Like straight up. Fucking dirty, rotten scoundrel style, dude.
Oh, that last knee. Oh,
He's
God.
still looking for that takedown, man.
He just wants to get out of the way, dude.
Jesus.
Just wants to get out of the way.
This is. Oh,
And then just getting kneed.
that was the laziest knee to the head ever.
Because
Those
he's hit
are
him
good, too,
8,000
because you
times
can't-
already. The ref should stop
There we
this.
go.
Oh, look at his eye from that one.
Those
That
types of
shit
knees
is
are good
done.
though because like there's zero chance you're
Oh,
hitting the
wow.
back of the head.
Oh God,
busted open.
damn!
Oh, he's good. Nah,
He
he's
got into the fucking white meat, dog.
Oh my god, that is a gaping gash right there.
Yeah, no problem.
Bang!
Reeves
Oh.
just jumped out.
It
Yeah.
was a knee? Oh,
I don't know how his nose.
Oh,
is
yeah, it
still-
was.
Oh, that was the one right there.
It kind of slid
It like
off.
sliced across his face.
Yeah. Oh my god, you can see.
Why are we continuing this? This is a blowout.
That was a different thing about Pride too. Is
Okay, at least they're
they-
smart enough to stop it.
they took a different approach to cuts over there. Like they of course they didn't allow elbows because they didn't want cuts, but then they were a whole lot quicker to stop a fight on a cut over
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
They didn't like elbows, but they loved knees from every position in the world.
Yeah. Why not? They make it great.
Jesus,
elbow
man,
too.
his whole hate.
Because like a knee can cause a knockout to where most elbows are just usually going to cause damage in a cut and stop a fight prematurely.
Spade's a spade.
I mean,
I agree. I agree.
until
I prefer
there were guys that figured out elbows and how to do damage without cutting people. Just
Yeah,
knock the fuck out of them.
I mean, the brain damage is way more damaging, theoretically, of course. But I guess it's a different time.
All right. I'll be back for. Oh, up next we got Mark Hunt taking on Dan the Bull Bobish.
You might
Damn.
have to give us some backstory on
Oh,
Bobish. I don't know who
God.
the fuck that dude is.
Oh yeah,
I gotta.
you're gonna like this one.
Jesus.
See that was a good thing about Pride too, is there was a nice mix of like superior fucking talented fighters and then like freak shows. And sometimes they had to bring in some freak shows to get their shit pushed in, you know.
Hey man, you got to get weird every once in a while. You can't have. They didn't know what stale was. They had
They had a
do
good
something.
mix. Hell, bring in fucking Giant Silva to fight Fedor. Fuck it, you know. Guys like 7'9" can't fight for shit, you know.
Holy shit. Derek in the chat said he thought Reem killed Teixeira when we were talking about knees there. I just YouTubed that. Alistair Overeem versus
yeah.
Teixeira in the kickboxing fight.
Yeah.
That dude got deaded. That was a fucking brutal
Yep.
knee, man. Holy shit.
Reem's got a couple of those over there, but I think that's the highlight one.
That's
yeah,
a
against
bad
Teixeira.
one, man.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. I wonder if his one with Fujita is on there or not. That's the one that I saw one fucking New Year's Eve randomly. It came on. I just felt bad for Fujita. He was so small compared to Overeem. That was Ubereem. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's Bobish.
That K1 kind of run he did there was like right when he was
Mark Hunt.
right when
Bobish.
he was on it.
Bobish looks like a trash man. That's just a. It could be a plumber. This dude is not a fighter.
He's
It could be
he's
an
like,
extra round money heist.
dude's like a weightlifter. Like wait till you see him. Like the dude's fucking massive, but he ain't no fighter.
Not this kind of fighter.
He's one of those guys that
Maybe
five,
about it.
5 years before this, he could have probably laid on some motherfuckers and just pounded them a little bit, but not at this time.
Jesus.
Watch, this dude's fucking massive. He's huge.
Is this super heavyweight or is this just heavyweight? It's got to be super heavyweight.
Look at
What
that.
does
Look
it
at that
say?
cat. Look at that cat.
They don't show weight limits.
Holy shit, he's huge.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
He's
This guy's
fucking massive, dude.
How big is this fuck?
Look, I
Did
mean,
they
what
do
ha-
weigh-ins?
There's
Holy
no
I
way.
think,
Wait,
uh,
unless
Is he
he's
like
5'2".
350? Is he
I
like
think-
350?
I think he got some shine. I'm pretty sure he got a win over Vochanskin because he just laid on top of Vochanskin. The guy's literally like 360 pounds or something like that. Massive fucking guy.
Fuck, I'm trying to see if they
What is that?
did
Iceberg
any weigh-ins
lemonade.
or-
Icarus.
Oh, Icarus. Well, you on that Russian doping program, Jay?
Don't worry about it.
When I fought Mark Hunt last year on Halloween, I was 345 pounds. So he was 345 going into this fight. And you're thinking he slimmed down a bit for this fight, or was he was about the same size?
A little different variety now.
Against who? Him or Vochanskin in this fight?
Brad, what are you
in
drinking
this
now?
fight.
I think he was still around
This is still
350.
the. I'm finishing off this one,
Oh, okay.
but
Pops and Rob.
I grabbed a
Brad,
Mill Street as well.
Didn't this big fucking Casper the Ghost looking motherfucker didn't he get Vochanskin before this fight? Did he like lay on Vochanskin or something like that and get a win over him? That's why he got a little hype. This Bobish cat.
Bobish? Honestly, I can't think of like a single big fight that he won. But I think he was like a king of the
Igor.
cage type guy, and he was in UFC a couple times. And
Well, he fought Igor, I think, right before
Yeah,
this.
the Igor fight was the one right before this fight. They just said that he lost 35 pounds. And
They can't even fit Bobish's head in the picture.
And he was 345 for this fight, so he was 370 or 380.
And I think that was like after that fight, Vochanskin dropped down to 205. I believe he finally dropped down after old boy just laid on him.
Jesus.
no, apparently I just looked it up. He lost to Igor.
Yeah.
Oh, did he end up losing? Okay.
Yeah.
But he might have laid
He
on.
might have got laid on for like a round or something.
Well, there was a
which
point
could have been
that
like 10 minutes.
They just showed the highlight where he had full mount on Igor, dropping bombs on him.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think maybe Igor ended up getting an arm bar or something, didn't he? I just watched it not too fucking long ago.
It says TKO, but I honestly don't remember it.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, he fucking went full fat boy and fucking gassed out. That's what it was.
Look at him.
He
fought early in the UFC, and he compared to what most people were doing to Mark Kerr at the time that he was in the UFC. Bobish actually put up like a decent fight and lost because I needed something to the eye. Yeah, it says. But he just got kneed and his face got broken because Mark Hunt was
torso
an
is so
animal.
Big compared to his legs. He's got like huge torso.
Mark Kerr's gonna always rank in my probably top 3 or 5 of just what could have been of
athletic dudes in MMA.
Just a supreme athlete that just had so many fucking demons and so many problems that he never ever lived up to. That guy was a freak, man. He was so far ahead of his time too. Like that guy was fucking such a freak, man.
Bobish had some wrestling credentials, eh? He went in his last 2 years of college. He went 58-2, and he was the super heavy Division III super heavyweight national champion in his senior year.
Like I'm the Division III bantamweight champion in wrestling.
Where did he go to college, Nushan? Do you know?
So he got transferred for his last 2 years. He was fighting.
He chose to be transferred.
What a tough
University of Mount Union.
Oh, yeah, I know where that is. They're a pretty good football school for Division III. Like over a year, they're in the title hunt.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell he's a strong dude. He just sort of like picked up Mark Hunt and tossed him a little bit.
Huge.
That guy is.
I mean, his thighs are as big around as fucking Jay's waist.
Yeah, probably.
Look at those fucking things, man.
Yeah, they're big.
These early, actually, an underrated Mark Hunt fight is he fought this like Japanese boxer, Yosuke. I'm gonna sound racist. I don't know the guy's name, but there was a guy that he fought a few times. I think a few times, but Pride like 31 for some reason rings a bell, and it was like still an early Mark Hunt fight.
Nishijima.
Oh,
There you go.
Yasuke
Was it-
Nishijima.
There you go. It was Yosuke. Yeah, I'm not that racist.
There you go.
But that guy was just like a straight up Japanese boxer, and he put on some fun fights in MMA, and he had a nice one with Hunt.
What are they looking at here?
cut.
How did he get cut there?
It's really not much to it, though.
But it was
Yeah,
it a
they
headbutt?
were different over there, man. They looked at all those fucking cuts like that.
This is
Yeah.
Mark Hunt's only second MMA fight, eh?
It is his
Yeah, I
first
think he
one
lost
was
his first one,
like
didn't
Yeah.
his first one was against Hidehiko Yoshida.
Yeah,
He got
yep,
armbarred.
that's right.
That dude was like
And he was
the
beating-
Japanese legend.
Yeah, he Hunt was beating him though too, and ended up getting caught.
Hunt was way
Yeah.
faster.
Woo!
Yeah.
Look how he just tossed like a 260 pound
Jesus.
mark like it was nothing.
Jesus.
He's bleeding pretty nicely now.
This is what was so cool about fights when guys only know how to do like
One thing.
one or one and a half
Yeah.
things.
Me and Sean was talking about that just a second ago. Pride had like a great mix of that, like elite guys that were great, and then some kind of freak shows, dudes that did one thing well,
Yep.
you know. Some fucking
But
Japanese
the freak
jobbers
shows
that
were
did.
so good at that one thing that it almost didn't matter that they could only do one thing.
At that point, MMA, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
But then they went full freak show and they had like fucking, like I said to Sean, fucking John Silva against Fedor against their best guy, and then like Minowa Man and shit against fucking John Silva pulling off fucking arm bars.
Yeah,
There was some
Yeah,
good freak
they,
show shit.
there was some good freak show shit and there was some real bad freak show shit
Yeah,
too.
yeah, no doubt.
How much do you think Mark Hunt was like, all right, fuck MMA, I'm not into this after getting armbarred last time and then just getting pounded on by this giant wrestler? He's just like, I don't think MMA's for me. I'm going to go back to kickboxing.
It's got to be frustrating for a kickboxer when this
Yeah.
type of stuff happens.
Well, I
Like,
mean-
what am I doing to myself?
What else is he expecting?
But
this?
even in that, like his Yoshida loss, he kind of seemed like he naturally understood MMA at least.
Yeah. Oh, you could see he had the defense down. He just couldn't. He needed to add some more stuff. It took
Jesus,
Yoshida a while to get him out of there.
That's pretty good. I kind of like those knees.
This is what I'm talking about.
CJ,
Knees
we
on the
told you.
ground.
I'm not hating on the knees. I just like elbows too.
A good wrestler like that could work this to his
Oh yeah,
advantage,
you,
like,
you should have
crazily
both.
good.
You should definitely have both.
Then you're not going to let anybody, a kickboxer, or any of them, stall on you on a leg, locked up a leg or something, you know.
If somebody can hit you from pretty much any position, then it's going to not
Yeah.
encourage you to sit in positions.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
He's missing a lot of these, though,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is surprising.
There's still
I feel like
7 minutes left in the first round. Okay.
Yep.
10 minutes is a long time for big boys.
Yep, especially big boys like this. Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that's I think that's part of why Mark Hunt made such a good transition to MMA and Pride. Because like, yeah, you can beat on me for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then
Right.
you're gonna get tired, and I'm still gonna be able to knock you out.
Yeah, because he's just fucking durable as hell.
Surviving this
Yeah.
is
He's got that
wild.
Samoan blood, man.
Yeah. Let you gas out beating the shit
Imagine
out of you,
having
and then
that-
it's over.
That fucking guy on top of you bombing knees like that. That's just
Yeah.
insane, man.
Big boy. Yeah.
My
I feel like
God.
going through and just doing like a Mark Hunt show would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Because you'd see the fights against like, you could probably get a couple K1 fights in there. You'd see the fights against like Vanderlei and Krokop and guys like that.
He's
And then
kinda-
you'd get into actual MMA.
He's kind of the last of a breed.
Yeah.
I guess Little Nog might be, but
I don't think there's really anybody left that came from those K1 days like that are still around in any kind of MMA.
on those Ream count.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't.
He was late.
Yeah, Hunt's like a fucking OG, man. That
Yeah.
guy's from way back, man. And I don't even know if Hunt even fights anymore. I think he might be about retired himself now.
Well, he's taking the
He
UFC
should
to
be.
court.
Yeah.
so-
If we're being
Yeah.
honest. Like as much of as I've enjoyed Mark Hunt fights over the years, I don't need to see any more.
He's seen
Yeah,
some,
no.
there's enough.
There's been some bad ones recently. So.
What
We don't need to see anymore. We've seen enough, and it was we can remember it.
guys like guys like us even that have watched it from even back from the early 2000s and shit, it's getting really, really sad lately. So many dudes.
Time to move on. I mean, we need
The
to
old crossface. I haven't seen
Wow,
that since
little
fucking
Rick Steiner?
WWE.
Rick Steiner.
Is that the Benoit?
This
With goatee,
this
kind of
might
looks like
be-
it.
This
Right?
might be Jay's brand new fucking fave fighter from back in the day. It's like, how did I
Dan
not
Bobish.
know this Bobish guy? Looks like Rick Steiner.
You know what?
fights like
If you're gonna pick
Scott
a
Steiner.
if you're gonna pick a random shitty heavyweight from back in the day to be a fan of,
This isn't a bad one.
I think Dan Bobish is the guy because you get like UFC fights, you get some like down in Brazil fights, you get a bunch of stuff, and against
We have
some
a
good
where
guys.
they now with Dan Bobish. Like, what is he? Is he just like chilling out somewhere? Like, where's
Well,
Bobish?
I think
Where's Bobish
wasn't his last fight one of the like Alex Emelianenko Hep B fights?
Sure,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm pretty sure he was one of those guys.
Yeah, standing guillotine to Emelianenko in 2007 in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Just
I feel like
two
he's
and a half
somewhere-
hour drive from me.
I gotta look this up.
I feel like he's somewhere
He's
eating
from
like,
born in Brooklyn, New York. Heck
I feel
yeah.
like he's somewhere eating like a whole cow right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he's definitely defying staying
Oh, this
like
is
shelter in
great.
place orders.
He had a tryout with the Cleveland Browns. Didn't
he's
get
absolutely on
nothing
the stairs of a state house with a
And-
fucking
oh, get
AR wrapped
this.
around him.
after
Absolutely.
failing with his NFL tryout. He started to work as a bouncer at a beach club where he gained a reputation of being a strong fighter. He claimed, "I never got beat once in a fight, even two."
Oh! Oh, look at that knee. Oh my god.
This guy's great.
Oh, he's
He
done.
did it.
Oh,
He just dropped the knee on him.
That was an illegal knee.
That was so.
well,
No such thing.
Was that a knockout or was that exhaustion?
Yes, it's
What
gotta
was
be a
deal there?
Oh, he was fucking dazed, dude.
What did he land there?
Look at Mark Hunt, like
Oh man.
that was fantastic, dog.
That knee to the back of the head was like that was
a knee
incredibly
drop to the
savage.
back of the head.
Wow.
Oh, it's too bad.
That was like a Ric
WWF
Flair
shit.
knee
He's
to
been
the back of the
knocked out
head.
Times in his
That was
career.
awesome. That was fucking awesome.
Oh
He was
man.
the king of the cage, super heavyweight champion, Brad.
He's living in his hometown of Cleveland and he's promoting local fights since.
Let's see who his
2010.
best win ever is. Does he have one?
He's got his own barn and he gets kids to fight in
He
it.
beat Mike Kyle.
I see that.
2002.
I see that. He beat Joe Charles back in the day.
Oh, there we go.
I like
We
Joe
got some
Charles.
Heath Herring, little Heath Herring sighting.
Lost to Randleman. Lost to Mark Kerr.
What was
Round
the deal with Herring there? Who's he rolling with?
Looks like Bobich.
Oh, that's his buddy.
He has a Gary Goodrich loss too.
What the fuck is that? It's not a check. Like, what is that?
It's a check
For what?
for
You're
winning.
like your prize money.
Is there
Yeah,
actual prize money on that?
exactly. There should be a dollar figure on that. What is the point of the check otherwise?
Oh, look at that kick to the body when he stood
Look
up.
at that knee.
drop was so dirty.
This
When
is
he
great. And then he
biceps him.
stands back up. He's like, "Whoa!"
Bang! Look
I
at him.
still don't know what really happened to him. I want to see that replay.
That,
again.
that
That's
That
how we see it
uppercut
here.
was nasty.
that
Yeah.
uppercut. That
That
knee
one
went
hurt
down
him.
the shoulder.
And he's done there. He literally put his hand up that he was done.
Yeah, that uppercut.
It was
fucking
just the
Wait,
uppercut.
here it
He
is.
was still just raw.
Watch.
He's rolling back and then just collapsed. He probably just stumbled, like didn't have his balance. On the
Oh.
ropes.
Oh
It
no,
was
that,
pretty much that uppercut.
that punch to the side of his ear too when he was on the
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know
The
if
knee
he
is
landed-
illegal.
I don't know if
Look.
he landed much of it, but
The
That
knee is
shot,
definitely illegal.
that shot to the body fucking hurt him. You see him wince.
Jesus. Yeah, that was an interesting finish right there.
God, Pride was so much fucking fun, man.
Anything in the
Jesus.
chat, News, Sean? Any
I
comments?
got Man, I just got so lucky when I was a kid, man. My good buddy growing up, his dad and uncles were like huge boxing fans.
Yeah.
And when the UFC first started, their cards were Friday nights. It's like there was always Friday night boxing, and his dad and uncles would get together, get fucked up, and watch boxing.
Yeah.
Well, then the UFC happened. It was Friday nights too, and
Get fucked up both
they
weekends,
got
both days, or what?
they just got the first UFC, man, on a fucking whim, dude, and they loved it. They fell in love with it, dude. Hell, we were
That's
like
awesome.
we were like 13, 14 years old, and they bought all the pay-per-views and shit every fucking time. Pride was kind of more internet when it first started. Though it was a whole lot harder to fucking to watch it. But luckily, I was poor. I didn't have internet back then. Luckily, they had fucking internet.
So Hendo's showing off his Hulk hand. What's
fucking
what's
Q
the
labia, Q labia biting the fucking Hendo style. Henderson had a really kind of up and down start, man. But once he committed and went down to 185, that guy was like, he was really good at 185 for a while. It's crazy. This dude's like 30 something back then, though. That guy like really got into it so late.
So he was coming off beating Murillo Bustamante and Oyama after losing to Little Nog by arm.
Oh, this is when him and Bustamante fought at 205, though, right?
Yeah.
Because a little while after this, they fought for the first 185 title.
Middleweight.
Yeah, they fought for the first belt in Pride for that weight. Dan goes on a run after that, though, to where he ends up getting he's a 2-weight champ and knocks out fucking Vanderlei, which was unfucking heard of.
Yep.
I
Brad,
moved
what are
my
you doing?
laptop and it literally shorted out. So
What
I'm trying
happened?
to. I'm on my phone now. I'm trying to get my laptop back up. We're gonna see how this goes.
You having
If
electrical
I get
fires
it,
or
I'm
what?
gonna need a timestamp.
Okay.
Wow.
Man,
Amateur hour at the Apollo.
Dan Bobish is electrifying.
Jesus.
I'd hang with Dan Bobish right now.
They love
I
him
bet you
some
I could
fucking
find him
Bobish.
at, like,
As I
Kyle-
said before I died, I think he would appreciate the violating the stay in place order.
Yeah.
Dan
Oh,
Bobish
absolutely.
right now.
I could see that dude on the State House stairs of Cleveland right now with AR strapped on his chest and his back.
I gotta do a little research on him.
I feel like Jay would have been a big fan of Big Cat Tom Erickson too. It just seemed like his type of guys. Just
That dude
big-
was actually like real good too.
yeah.
Dan lives in Cleveland now.
He was
fights. He found
he
his
was a legit
battle.
wrestler.
Yep.
Tom Erickson was.
He was like a real good coach too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he coached with Coleman and all them for a while. Coached in his gym, the Hammer House, I believe.
It seemed like a good hang though, like a guy you can just like you go to like your local like VFW or Knights of Columbus, and you just crack down like 6 beers, an hour and a half.
Yeah, and then he seems like he'd be starting to beat up all the dudes around the pool table, and you'd have to leave.
I mean, Wes, like at this point, what do you mind a little Roadhouse? I mean, come on.
Not if I'm with that motherfucker.
Come on. Yeah, exactly. What do you care? I'm going behind you. No one's gonna see me anyway.
I'll
You can
pop out,
me. No one's seeing me.
pop out from that fucking dome of his every now and then, throw a pool ball, duck back behind.
It would be a fun time. At least one night only. Sure, why not?
Why does Hendo have Hulk hands, Brad? He didn't have that many KOs at this time in his career.
That's what started it. He put the Hulk hands on. He got the power.
Did the movie just come out? No.
He knocked out Bustamante and he knocked
Look at that.
out
original-
I always love seeing these old fucking Dan fights. He's got the sportsbook.com shirt on.
I mean, the whole movie came out in
These
2008.
dudes were allowed to
Way
make
ahead of
money
its time. Even
however they
Marvel
could
guys.
back
Gotta
in these
respect
days.
Dan Henderson.
They sold these as a cartoon toy. My brother, when he was like 5, had some of those.
Yeah,
That was like 20 years ago. They were making those Hulk hands.
But did he always come out with the hands? Or
No.
what the fuck is the deal
No.
here?
This is the first time I
he's a
He
visionary.
knocked out like a Gracie or something like that with one of them, I
knocked out
think.
Renzo.
Big deal.
Well,
Yeah.
he knocked out Bustamante on like some luck type shit.
Oh, that's
So,
fine. That's a little better. I mean, knocking out a Gracie doesn't really.
You mean
do it.
Bustamante?
yeah,
Bustamante, you next.
Bustamante.
You next.
Let's boost him out. Yeah.
I was telling them that then they fought for the 185-pound title, the first one, and Dan kind of goes on a run when he finally goes to 185, and
Yeah.
Nakamura was decent, wasn't he? Like, I mean,
Yeah. He
they were
came
just
over to
talking-
the UFC. He fought. Didn't he fight like Sokuju and Machida over in the UFC and like a couple of dudes?
back to back. That's who.
yeah, he was a Olympic silver medal in judo or something like that.
Yeah, dude. The quality of judo fighters it's. I feel like it's a MMA conspiracy theory, but I
What?
think that that judo made MMA great back in the Pride days.
I
Judo was
absolutely.
before that,
It was
man.
good, man. Judo worked a lot more back then, I think, before guys were good
It
at
worked,
wrestling.
but it also made fights fun
yeah,
because there were just like weird positions where guys would like get tossed from for no good reason.
Well, it also happened to be that it was like it was the original art of Brazil.
Those
Judo is super popular in Brazil.
those judo guys started learning good jujitsu to go along with it too.
Yeah,
they honed their shit out.
I mean, I know my wife tells me that like Vitor Belfort did judo as a young kid. Like that's what he grew up with. That was his starting base for.
Nakamura was legit.
Yeah,
that guy was
judo and
Olympic.
jiu-jitsu for a long time were basically the same thing.
Yeah, yep.
But judo was like a way for American classically trained wrestlers.
I mean, watch Yoshida. Watch Yoshida in early prides. I mean, that dude would choke you the fuck out. He was a gold medal in judo, but that dude's fucking submissions were
Why in women's
crazy.
MMA, judo is still prevalent? They're like judo
because women's MMA is at least a decade behind.
Yep, at least, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, like the 3 or 4 like really good wrestlers in women's MMA, like they stand out, like Suarez and Esparza and McMahon. Like
Sarah McMahon hated being a fighter, and she was like a top 5.
Well, she was
female MMA fighter for like half a decade.
Her arms are 3 times the size of every other.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying she hated being a fighter, but she was good enough at one thing as a female fighter that she could be a top 5 fighter for like a decade. And that's where men's MMA was like a decade before women's MMA is now.
Esparza's kind of the same way. And was a champion in the UFC.
Hendo's so skinny here.
Yeah,
Do you need a timer, Brad? You got it up and running or not yet?
It's coming. It's coming.
No, okay.
Ooh.
Give me a heads up.
Wow, he is really thin.
Yeah, like this is obviously a 185
We're on
fight,
just and absolutely.
He was at
blank
his peak, though, man. Because he was a smaller guy though. 185. His power carried down with him.
He had
maybe
just though, like I guess like consistently like fairly high level of MMA of any fighter in history.
Well,
he was probably like a top like 10 guy in his weight class for like 20 years.
Yeah, and he started like late for MMA too. Like the guy didn't like get into pride and fighting consistently to like his early 30s,
And then like his first UFC tournament, he fights Alan Goes in the first round, who was he was a legit fighter at that point, and Carlos Newton in the final, who was a UFC champion.
Brad, what year was that? Like 99, 2000?
97.
Yeah, then he just didn't fight consistently after that for a while for whatever reason, I believe.
He was trying to qualify for the Olympics.
Was he still trying to qualify? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What just happened?
He dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was from? Was that the takedown?
I got to see that again.
Oh, yeah. I picked a good fight to miss, didn't I?
Yeah. The old injury shoulder injury.
Yeah, Hendo's
unfortunately, not to foreshadow.
Yeah.
Hendo will always have one of the 3 best MMA moments for me. Always, it'll never ever change.
Just killing BSing.
Yeah, and then
He should have won the title that night.
the Vanderlei win ranks up really
the Vanderlei
high for me.
knockout was
Yeah,
incredible.
that's
Like-
another one that's way up there for me, man.
Yeah, if we're doing another Pride card, I'd be fine with doing Pride 33 as
Yeah,
well.
that's
oh my god.
We saw that fight in Vegas, didn't we? We were out there for that, right? When
No.
he
Bisping
fought
fought-
Bisping the second
when it
time.
was the rematch.
Oh, yeah, the rematch.
Yeah, Henderson Bisping rematch. Yeah.
He should have won the title that night.
Yeah, he got
Should've.
robbed. Yeah,
No,
got
he
robbed.
didn't.
Yeah,
He
got
could
robbed.
have very easily won the title that night, Brad.
He should have, but he didn't.
I think most everybody
I
around
would have owed
us
Barry
scored
a
it.
hand
for
talking
him,
about
though.
actual
if
referee stoppage,
if
not-
Henderson won that fight. So
Oh.
I'm glad he didn't.
I'm
Just
talking about
dropped.
referee stoppage. I'm not talking about the actual scorecards.
Man, he fucked up.
All right, Sean, what's our timestamp here?
Well, that was weird.
About an hour 48 and 15
I don't.
seconds.
I can't tell when the dislocation happens.
48 and
It's one of those
15.
last knees, Jay, I believe.
It's a knee that caused it.
Yeah, he drops a
Or is
knee
it
down
there?
on his shoulder. No, watch. It's one of these last knees.
He's already grabbing for it. Well, maybe not.
Huh? Yeah, it's hard to tell, ain't it?
That's
Oh,
a weird
now he's
one.
waving his arm. You see when?
Yeah, so Brad, we're at an hour 48:40.
I'm like 3 seconds
Look.
ahead of you.
Maybe right there.
I thought he's already knocking his hand, but
No, I think was it there? Was it the left
it's
arm?
really hard to tell.
Yeah, it's maybe right there where he kind of.
Oh no, it was his left. Yeah, it was his
Plus
left
the
arm.
angle
like
of it
that.
is-
I'm
It was
thinking
that.
it's. Yeah, I'm thinking it's somewhere where he just squeezes it the wrong way when he's dropping a knee and
I
pops
thought
it
it
out.
was when he was blocking it and his arm
Yeah,
went back.
and
Yeah,
it's like
like
when Korean Zombie dislocated his shoulder against Aldo. He threw like an overhand right, and it got like popped up at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's also his left shoulder, so
Sure.
it was away from all the stuff that you were probably looking
Exactly.
at too.
camera. Yeah, exactly. Pretty old. Wow, that's a name. For the
Yeah. Is this before or after the Anderson fight?
before. Definitely.
What's that?
When was the Chonin Anderson fight?
After that.
no, this is after that.
No, the other way around. I think.
He had two because he had the Takase fight where he lost two, but I thought the Chonin fight was on like a Shockwave card or
Yeah.
something like that.
Shockwave 2004.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're right around.
So it would have been
2004.
just after this.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple months. 2 months, 3 months.
You could see Anderson's skills even all the way back here, but I'm not sure there was too many people that thought Anderson was gonna turn out to be
Nope.
how great he actually ended up being.
Absolutely. I still have a hard time believing it because I look at him and I think about the guy that
That
got
got
stuffed
taken
like that.
and the guy that consistently got taken down and laid on his back for fucking big chunks of fights in Pride. Never would have thought that he would have been as great as he was.
Who did
Yep.
that to him in Pride?
There was a couple guys that laid on him quite a bit, man. Even the fights he won in Pride, he would get taken down consistently. He just would be able to get up.
He just killed people on the feet.
Yep. And then he finally learned how to fucking use his knees and his length and shit to stop takedowns and stuff. And then he was unfucking stoppable.
Yeah, that Lieben Franklin back to back are just ridiculous.
Yeah, that really was a coming out party, like for everybody, even people that had seen him in Pride. Where I was like, "Holy fuck, is that Anderson Silva? Like the Anderson
Yep.
Silva?" You know, at the time.
It was that out there, eh?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Doing Franklin like that, absolutely. Hell, I thought Franklin was just untouchable back then.
I wonder if there was odds back then.
And Franklin was good, man. Franklin was always a really good fighter. That was just how good Anderson. He got great quick, man. He really did.
How juiced up was Barnett at this point?
They were all juiced up to the
He's been
fucking.
juiced up since then.
Yeah, they were all juiced up by and all the heavyweights maybe except Fedor, but Fedor was probably on some kind of EPO or something.
He
like
was
that
on something.
That gave him like the dude's gas tank was just unheard of. He was definitely doing some more EPO.
Cormier might be the only ones, man, in the heavyweights. They might be the only ones.
Crow Cop back then just jacked, just completely fucking juiced, man.
He had
this
that
was-
one little run for a couple years where he was like that too. Like he just got real juiced and went back to it. But yeah, this was a special time.
They
This
just
was a
had
scary time.
the anniversary of that too. The fucking Gabriel Gonzaga Crow Cop, man, and
Fuck.
that shit it still ranks up there as one of the most shocking moments of my MMA watching history, dude.
Absolutely.
Me and my buddy watching that literally said at the same time, "Oh my god, he got Crow Cop." Like Crow Cop got
that
Crow
was
Cop.
so brutal.
Yep.
Man. And
Well, that was like one of the I watched from the early 50s in terms of events, but one of the first ones that I actually bought at home was GSP Sarah. And I was like, nope, fuck it. Nope. I'm going out for all of them. I'm not buying anymore. Not for like 5 years, man. This is fucked.
Yeah, that whole run of when the Pride guys first started coming over was just kind of
awful.
Yeah, you knew how good they were and shit, and they was just putting into just crazy matchups. Like Rampage ended up doing well, but man, watching Hendo getting taken out by Anderson and shit, it was just Crow Cop getting fucking knocked out by Gabriel Gonzaga.
That was and then the Congo fight after that. Oh,
yeah,
fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then you had the UFC fucking cuck boys running. Oh, I told you Pride was shit. They were never nothing and all that. And it was like, fuck you, shut the fuck up.
Yep. But then there was a good little revenge when like Shogun came back and won the title, and that was
Rampage won a title. He did he did pretty good. Rampage was still like very good at that time though when he came over.
Yes. That was one of the first big bets that I won was Rampage over Chuck. Because he was an underdog to Chuck.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild.
Barnett's the champ here? Heavyweight champ at this time?
Nah, that's
no.
He's for is that a wrestling promotion?
I think that was a New Japan heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
He's still really he's been pro wrestling dude from the jump way back, man.
But yeah, this was like because he beat Randy for the UFC heavyweight title, but he tested positive for steroids. And this was like his first big MMA fight since then. Like I think he fought like Semi Schilt or something in a year-end card, but this was like his first actual big MMA fight since that point.
Barnett's never gonna get the love he deserves because
they got him.
Because he ruined so many big fights.
Yeah, and because he's a dumb shit that gets caught taking steroids, like unlike the rest that don't get caught using all the steroids, you know.
Well, so the UFC cut him after he won, but pissed hot.
Rules of division, all that stuff.
Yeah, he beat Randy for the title.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was one of like the first big positive drug tests.
Might have been the biggest one early on, yeah.
And he got cut. They just were like, cool,
and
see ya.
Mainly
and then Randy fought Rico and lost.
Mainly because of stupidity. Like back then, if you're gonna get popped for something back then, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. The funny thing is,
he is responsible for Tim Sylvia being a UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So, fuck Josh Barnett for that.
Supposedly he tested positive the fight before the Couture fight. And he was given a warning by the Nevada
but
State
it was
Athletic
MMA.
Commission. And then he fought 5 months later for the title, won, and pissed hot.
Yeah, so this was basically like Crow Cop. He came off of that Randleman loss and beat up a couple of Japanese cans. He kick KO'd Alex Emelianenko, and now he's basically fighting the UFC champion. So this is a big fight at this point.
Oh, I forgot about those. Look at the fucking Crow Cop shorts. I forgot he.
These aren't even like the white ones on the
No,
one
Oh,
side.
he switched them up for this one.
Woo.
Woo!
Went for the high kick.
Look, he even got taken down in this fight, man.
Yeah, I know, and this is where, like,
This is Barnett's world.
Man, Crow Cop, like over the 5 years here in Pride, though, that little span, that guy improved like tremendously.
yeah.
He wasn't just a kickboxer anymore, man. And his takedown defense is some of the best that you'd see back then.
Well, he had to.
Look at
I wish I could
Look
be
at
as
that.
naive
Look at that.
as Jay and be like, oh, Barnett got a takedown.
Just
That is a yeah, exactly. What the fuck just
We
happened?
got our next dislocated shoulder.
Yeah,
But did he
Yeah.
try to
What?
fight through it? Did he? Did it
you'll
happen?
see. Yeah,
What the? I turned my head away. I was
That's
like,
a brutal ending to a hyped
Yes.
up fight at the
Bar-
time,
Bar-
man.
that was
Yeah.
a huge fight
He's
at the
had-
time.
he's had so many of those, man.
Yep. He's had so much shit happen for years and years and years, man.
The fuck did he do in his past life?
Yep.
The dude has terrible timing
Down
and
fight,
terrible
too.
luck.
Other one.
Jesus. Nice. We picked the Pride event with 2 shoulder injuries.
He's good.
I mean, there's a reason that I didn't immediately say yes to this one.
Because Sean's looking and seeing TKOs in the first round. He doesn't realize they're fucking dislocated shoulders.
It's good backstory. Good
That's
backstory.
Great.
Yeah, this was a good one to talk about some good.
But
guys
we
that
got
were
some
around
banter
there.
in on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried at least.
No, we
Oh,
did.
I could go through and watch all these old prides every fucking night and
Yeah.
have a great time. And like Brad said, this little era in MMA was it was peaking. It was like a good fucking shroom trip, boy.
Yeah.
So after this Crow
Well-
Cop avenged his loss to Randleman, he guillotined Randleman?
Yep.
Is that fucking... How many subs does he
Ran-
have on his record?
look,
2? Oh,
Rand-
a couple,
Rand-
3.
Randleman might have been the biggest head case in MMA. That guy was fucking so talented, dude. And listen to Mark Coleman in some of his fights, just screaming at him to fucking do something, and the guy would just refuse to do it, man.
Nah. I'm good.
I fucking love Kevin Randleman, dude, but that guy, he
So
wasn't.
Where did he get hurt?
His shoulders are already out of socket there.
I know. So like,
Yeah.
when did
Yeah,
It's
look
when
at
he
that.
pulls
Look at
out
that.
of Crow Cop's guard there. Crow Cop has an overhook, and he pulls out, like his shoulders are already out there.
Yeah,
I know. So like, did it happen when he like fell to the floor when Crow Cop tried to head kick him there, or what? Because
Just
like,
watching it now.
oh, right there, you can see it right there. See it
and
happen.
he tried to pull
I thought it
out
was
and
already
Crow
out,
Cop
though.
had
No.
the lockdown on, or what?
Yeah, it's when he had the lock on. He tried to pull it out. It came out. Yeah, you can see his shit pop.
Crow Cop kicks his ass off of him after he tapped.
That's
Oh,
all
we'll do
right.
a Makeshift sling.
How is there still
Watch-
55 minutes left in this?
I think there might be some aftermath stuff, so it
Watch,
might end
That's
up
good.
sooner than we thought.
I was going to
Why-
say, 55 minutes seems like a long time. But was there one fight left?
Yeah, there's only one fight
Watch,
left.
watch Fedor versus Crow Cop the first time, and watch like true fucking greatness.
You have to watch the fights up to it, though.
Yeah,
You can't just
to-
watch
it
that
does have
fight.
more
of a
and,
story.
like,
just to understand how truly great Fedor was, how
Yeah.
truly fucking great that guy was.
yeah, it's weird for me because, like, I got into MMA at a time where it was actually possible for you to go back and watch everything that had happened before.
It's impossible now. It's not even worth
And
it.
yeah, it's absolutely impossible now. I don't see how somebody could do it.
It's a lost
But
cause.
it-
Yeah.
It made everything so much better.
Yeah,
Like,
it does. Totally.
Yeah, that's one of the things I miss most about MMA from a decade ago is the build up and the revision.
It's
of
like watching.
everything.
It's like a movie
Well, we're
franchise,
kinda
man,
getting a
or
taste of it
something.
now.
You can see everything.
Yeah, I mean, we just actually went the longest without an event since like 2009 or 8.
Feels
something
pretty
like that.
good, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, Oh yeah,
no
absolutely.
matter what fight is going to happen,
I know people
You're gonna
hate that
wanna
there's no.
see it.
I know people hate that there's like very few, like there's not much going on in terms of like live entertainment and stuff. But it is kind of refreshing and lets you like recharge your batteries and
Look
all
at the
that stuff.
card.
And
Look at
all
the
the
card
small
we're gonna
things
get.
that you have, like they're talking about this
Hey,
golf thing.
you're not
with,
getting that
with
card, Wes.
they're talking about
Now,
this golf event now
the first card we'll get.
with Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. People are like hyping this thing up. Like, it kind of is cool to have just like so few things that like
To get
you,
a
you can
the-
have a build
the-
because you can
the-
have a natural build to something now.
The
I guess.
Bulls documentary had almost 7 million viewers the other night. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not going to
watch
watch
it
it
at
until
some
all
point.
the episodes are out.
Yeah,
I wish I would have waited because I could watch them all right now. That shit's good, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
for me,
holding
it's
off.
like it's painful just by being a Knicks fan. So I lived through that. I mean, but the thing is, I also appreciate Jordan's greatness in hindsight. At the time, I just oblivious and just angry.
Yeah, see, I grew
You could-
I grew up in that era, and my grandfather lived in Chicago and was a huge
It's
Bulls
different.
fan.
You're
So
on the- you're on the other. You're on the other side of the coin.
I didn't have a pro basketball team in then either. I pretty much cheered for the Bulls.
I don't know
Same.
why you like the Celtics. Was it Antoine Walker thing?
No, because Rick went there, and then they drafted Walker.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I didn't have a pro sports team, and my
Oops.
grandpa was fucking a Bulls fan. I was pretty much just a Bulls fan because of him. I wanted my own basketball team. So Rick went to the Celtics. They drafted one of my favorite players at the time, and I was like,
So I guess this kind of raises an interesting question. We'll do an
One
actual
of my first MMA or first NBA jerseys because we used to drive
Vince
across to like the Champion outlets in Buffalo.
yeah.
You could get
Why
like
not?
super
Canada at
cheap
that time?
shit in Buffalo back in the day. Jamal Mashburn, Kentucky legend.
That
which team though?
Dallas, absolutely Dallas.
the jersey outside
97?
outside
Yeah,
of a Kentucky jersey, the jersey was
Yep.
Mashburn
Him
on it.
and Jimmy,
Monster
and
Mash,
Jimmy
yeah.
Jackson and
Jimmy-
Yeah,
Jimmy
Jimmy Jackson. Yeah.
That would have been
Ju-
that should have been a team.
Mashburn is a living legend around here still, just because he was the guy that really changed our program back around after our cheating scandal. Mashburn
He
was
was
our
great.
Yeah, he was our biggest recruit that Rick got to come here after all that. He was like a top 10 fucking high school player in the country, and he came here.
Walker
And-
was after him, right?
Yeah.
Walker was on the 96 team. Jamal was 93, I believe.
Yeah, a couple of years after. Yeah.
Yeah. The 96 team was just absolutely loaded.
Yeah. Rondo?
no,
not Rondo. I was after.
No,
Wait,
that's
somebody-
that's
no,
way after.
96 was Walker, Ron Mercer, Derek Anderson.
Oh, Mercer. Yeah.
All the guys, Walter McCarty.
Oh, there's
Tom-
the power bomb.
So kind of related to the basketball thing. Like, so Michael Jordan, in my eyes, was like the most ruthless competitor of any sporting athlete.
There's nobody going to compare ever.
If there was somebody in MMA that had that kind of mentality, who would that be?
Like probably Vanderlei around this time.
If we're
he hadn't
going
lost in 17
going
fights.
all time like killer instinct like that, I think Vanderlei's a perfect example.
Well, I think MJ was more than killer instinct. I think it was. I took it as like it was more like kind of like the Kobe thing of just didn't want to lose at all. Like not even just like seeing blood and finishing. It was just like I can't live with losing. I think that's a little different. You know what I mean? I think it's like like the
It is
concept's
because I
different.
think like what you're
MJ
talking about that I don't want to lose is like it makes you a little bit more hesitant than like
but it didn't in Jordan's case. I feel
no, like it's the saying of losing hurts more than winning feels good. That's
a good
Jordan.
Yeah.
On the first episode, they talk about Jordan used to literally get in fist fights with his older brother.
I believe it.
When they played basketball. It's like
and his teammates and like
his
everybody.
His dad loved his older brother more because his older brother was like the smarter one, the more athletic one and shit. And you could see you see how something like that mentality is formed over a lifetime, not just a couple years, but that guy's entire life has been built around your brother's better than you. That, I love him more because he's better than you. Getting like cut from a team, saying you're not good enough.
Yeah, all that stuff was like a bully complex for him, but like
Yeah,
it was like taken
yeah.
to like the knowledge. Like Kobe obviously had that in him. Like Tiger Woods, I would say Novak Djokovic would have that kind of mindset, like just ruthless. I don't want. I will lose.
I
no
think
That's about it.
I think Nadal is much more of a ruthless killer than Novak will ever be.
I don't know about that.
Mentality wise, absolutely. Absolutely. As far as mentality
The
goes,
fuck are we talking about tennis?
Nadal's
It's
a
the
much
best,
more
man.
ruthless killer.
One-on-one. It's a one-on-one sport.
Yeah, there's some like you're right.
There's
Kobe.
not a lot of dudes though like that though. They're just
And
not.
it's crazy how that's built because look how Jordan grew up with like all that around him, and look how Kobe grew up in a sheltered life with a great family. Everything.
Yeah,
is,
father was a pro basketball player.
Yeah, I mean you can see how different kind of lifestyles can form that mentality, but I don't think there's ever gonna be a competitor like Jordan though.
I agree.
I really don't.
I think he is on the I think he's the pantheon
Yep.
of it, the apex.
Yeah.
Now there's maybe I don't know. You could say there's
Tiger is pretty close, but
yeah.
if we didn't see this modern era if he retired at the back injury, he'd probably be thought about the same way. But we've seen things now; he's a little less the same way. But
I can't.
His facial expressions and desperation for when he's down is like it's like you can see it all.
Rate golf and Killer Instinct in the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
You can. I think
I just can't. I don't. I mean, you can, but not to the extent of.
There's something about doing it, and then doing it to someone.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
When
That's fair. I know what you're saying.
Golf is more you against yourself in the course, to where basketball and other sports like that are fighting as your will on a specific person or person.
I mean, Bird.
Takada's not in a diaper.
I mean, Bird was kind of that way as well. I guess.
Wise. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can talk
all
about
those guys like
a lot
Magic,
of basketball
Bird,
players,
all
like
those guys.
Magic was a little. I mean,
no,
he was
they all
amazing.
thrived off the 101 and one-on-one and making sure that you knew that they were better than the other guy, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can even all those teams in that era go to the Bad Boy Pistons. They're going to go into them with the Bulls.
Isaiah was very.
Yep.
Isaiah, Bill Laimbeer, those guys. I mean,
it's crazy that Rodman never gets mentioned with those guys.
The next episode
because he couldn't shoot.
The next
but
episode,
he was so important.
Of course he was. He was the glue. He was the glue
in
piece.
The same decade.
The next
crazy.
episode.
He was the Pippin.
The next episode's going to go into Rodman a lot and how important he was to that team and shit. The second episode goes into a lot of Scotty, and people still today don't realize that
how good he was.
Well, if you watched it during the time, you knew how much Scottie Pippen meant because you could watch when the season they're actually doing the documentary on. Scotty hurts his foot, and he holds out. He doesn't play, and the Bulls are like fucking 8-8 and shit. I mean, the year Jordan came back from baseball and shit, Scotty wasn't playing some of that, and they just weren't as good. Scotty was like,
I mean, Scotty and Wade are very similar.
They didn't have a point guard. Like it was up to Scotty or Michael to get the ball at the floor.
They had Ron Harper and Kerr and Paxson.
Ron Harper wasn't a point guard,
but yeah, well, I mean,
he was an off guard. Yeah,
I'm saying Paxson and Kerr and all, but they played the point because Jordan was a shooting guard. But they didn't handle the ball. They just defended and rebounded. Kerr and Paxson literally like hit a shot if you're open. That's it. That's all they were fucking.
Scotty was probably the second point forward to ever play the game.
Scotty is like. I mean,
he was Magic Johnson. Like Magic was the first point forward.
Who was before him?
Magic
Johnson.
But Magic and all those
Magic
guys,
was a point guard.
But he was really a point forward.
But he was 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, Magic was a point guard, but he was tall. But Scotty was a point forward.
None of those guys could come close to defending like Scottie Pippen, though. That dude was
was he an 8-time? Jordan could defend very well.
Yeah, they had two of the best defenders in the entire league on their team. They both
that stare down. Mm-hmm. Ron Harper was also one of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan and Pippen made.
We got Ron Harper fan in Canada, that's for sure.
8 or 9 years.
That's right.
Ooh.
Throwing heat.
And we can keep going into all the Warriors, but the 72-win Bulls team would absolutely drag them in a 7-game series.
Well, it'd
Yep.
be very. It would
Drag them.
or they'd
Yeah.
send them to the line 85 times, maybe.
What is Steph Curry going to do facing a 6'6" or taller elite defender every night? He's going to get fucking destroyed.
He's not going to have an open shot. That's
you
for
also
sure.
you also have to really put it in the context of eras. Like, so
Clay would be the key player of the whole thing.
Warriors,
well, Durant, but that's not the point.
Say this series happens in 97, the Warriors might not win a game. Like, straight up. It's
who guards Durant?
But I'm saying put it today.
Scotty.
Put it in today's
And who
era.
guards what? Jordan's going to run Curry?
Ron Harper's on fucking on Clay.
You don't think that Michael Jordan
Who's
could
on
guard
Draymond?
Steph Curry?
Well, then who guards
Rodman.
Clay? Then Clay hits shots in the corner, and that's the problem. That's the thing.
Rodman's playing fucking Draymond.
Well, that's a fact.
Harper's on Clay, Jordan's on Curry, and Pippen's on fucking Durant.
The Bulls could have one more shooter out than they already had.
Anything's
tough. They don't need to play a center. They don't need to play like Longley or Wennington or any of those bums. and then play like an actual player.
Maybe Bill Cartwright.
So, like, I mean, who's going with, like, you know, the later Bulls teams? We're talking about Kukoc and shit, 6'9" guy.
Yeah, he was nifty. He was underrated too.
And shit. Absolutely, he was underrated. But like, it's going to be an era series too. You play it in this era today. The Warriors are going to win a couple games because they're going to get all the fouls are going to get called. But then you're going to have Jordan also shooting fucking 35 free throws a game like James Harden because he's going to get fouled constantly.
If you look at Jordan's stats, though,
and then Draymond's going to be fouled out of the game.
The difference in the game is so.
Rodman's going to get every offensive rebound.
The thing is, Jordan was like the king. Jordan was like the king of hitting like 15-foot jumpers, though. It's a different game, man. It's a different game.
A guy put like this statistical thing.
But the thing is,
I saw the picture graphic.
All of the guys on the Bulls were 6'6" or taller and could defend.
Yep.
Like, they could defend on the perimeter. They would be out there.
Well, we don't even know who could defend nowadays because, quite frankly, everything's called a foul. It's a different game. I grew up. I grew up guarding guys like glue too. Everything would be called a foul now.
If they played in 97,
or in 2000 or 2002, it's different. The game changed.
I don't think the Warriors win a game against that Bulls team if it's played in 97 because they're going to hack the fuck out of all of them. Like,
they're all shooters.
But they're going to get clobbered. They're going to get clobbered off of every fucking screen. They're going to get fucking clobbered.
Are they prepared to guard 25 feet from the rim?
You're just not going to – you're not going to get off – like, I mean –
They would be. The Warriors might win game one. They would win game one, and then they would adjust. And then they'd be fucked.
Now, though.
Are they though?
No, come on now, dude.
Jordan and Pippen are more athletes than anybody on that Warriors team. Anybody.
Durant.
Durant's not really an athlete. He's just
tall.
Yeah,
he's tall and thin.
I'm not saying he's not an athlete. Don't get me wrong, but he's not like a Pippen level athlete. He's not streaking and guarding like that.
Oh,
he's one of the greatest.
He stops it right away and puts.
There are other guys in the league that are, but the Warriors didn't have those players. Iguodala maybe.
It's just an offensive game. It's an offensive game now. They have literally 3 of the greatest offensive players ever on that team, and it's an offensive game now.
Well, you didn't mention Iguodala in the statement. He's the guy who'd be guarding. Well, I mean, you could put Clay on Jordan, and you put Iguodala on Pippen. That's probably what would happen. I don't know. And then I don't know and then you let Durant rest on defense.
I think it really comes down to what era you want to play it in. If you're going to call it like they called it back then, or you're going to call it now.
Who is Durant guarding if he's resting on defense, though?
Who does he need to guard anybody? What, Rodman?
Yeah, and then if he doesn't guard Rodman, he gives up every rebound. Rebound.
There's also not going to be – look, Draymond is not running around.
All right, fuck it, I'm watching the fight.
Draymond's not running around being Draymond Green.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Draymond and Rodman, they're probably both getting thrown out of that series in game 2. They're not playing the rest of this series.
No, Rodman could contain himself.
Yeah,
get out of here with that. I don't buy it. That's gonna be some Michigan on Michigan violence.
Draymond is not running around being like great Draymond with Rodman on him.
He's gonna get thrown out. There's no doubt he would be able to play an entire final.
Rodman is one of the greatest in-game competitors, mind fucking guys you'll ever see. That dude will get in your head so fucking fast. And like Brad said, in the game, he'll control himself in a game. I'm telling you, when it's on the line.
Rodman is the greatest Draymond ever wishes he could be.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of.
Way better.
Very similar player.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean, you're right, but Draymond isn't like.
That's a good comparison.
He's not an offensive juggernaut or anything.
Yeah, but he can dish though.
Rodman could pass. Draymond
could.
Cannot defend or rebound like Rodman in any sense of the imagination.
No,
the man understood a box out like about as any good in the game.
But I agree. Like Drake, they're actually a good comparison, man. Those guys are.
Yeah.
Draymond's a little better offensively, and
yes, he's significantly better offensively.
Rodman
slam
powerbomb again.
Oh yeah,
he's pulled out.
That's a great conversation to have, and it is definitely the two, like probably the greatest basketball teams that's ever been assembled in two separate generations. It's great to have.
Some of those '80s teams are pretty neat, though.
Man, they get mopped though by they're. Like I love
the athleticism.
I love those old Celtics teams, but if you don't think Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish ain't getting absolutely mauled by some of the guys today, you're out of your fucking mind, man. And I love those '80s Celtics, dude. The only guy off that team that plays in today's era is Larry. That's the only fucking guy. The rest of those dudes get fucking murdered. There's no way Kevin McHale, slow ass footed, can't jump. He's getting mauled in today's era.
Yeah.
Fuck Robert Parrish. That dude is broken in half in today's game.
Well, it's a different time. The center
plays a different
the game is played differently.
In that Bulls documentary, like they talk about that season that Jordan goes for 60 something against them and shit.
Yeah, at the Boston Garden, yeah.
But Larry in that interview talks back then. They're talking to him in an interview back when they had that series, and he's like, well, going in, we know we got a couple 6'11" guys and 7-footers and shit, so we knew we had them. And today's game, none of that matters. There is no 7-footers and 6'11". If you're not running,
because 3 means more than 2, man. That's a big part of the game.
And it's not just that. The 6'11" guys now. 6'11" guys now can fucking run up and down the court and defend and block.
Apparently, 7'2" guys can if you watch the Dallas Mavericks.
They absolutely can. You think Robert Parrish is running up and down the court and jumping and blocking shots and shit? Hell no, he's dead. That dude's broken in half.
So Brad, their first fight, was it close? Because going into this fight, Wanderlei was only a -155 favorite.
Yep.
They were both.
It was kind of the same as this, where Rampage got him down early. He was on top of him. He was like doing some stuff, and then, like I said early, that narrative was that Rampage got tired because he had to fight a second guy.
Oh,
so
did
Wanderlei.
This second fight,
because it was back in the tournament days. But he beat Chuck first, and Wanderlei beat Hidehiko Yoshida. Which, by the way, great fight. You go back and watch it. For anyone that thinks Japanese crowds are silent, go back and watch like any Sakuraba or Yoshida fight. They're awesome.
And they're not silent either.
No. So that fight wasn't close, and Wanderlei, it seemed like he won it because Rampage got tired. But
this fight
that was kind
really
of the narrative
close.
going into this one.
Maybe
but
more
like Rampage is winning this fight.
Oh yeah.
What was that?
This fight was like more close and but maybe a more decisive finish than the first one.
Oh, absolutely.
If I remember right.
100%. Like you guys are going to see the finish soon. Like now maybe.
Shows a man
pretty soon to right now. It's coming.
Okay. I
want yellow card. He just lost 10% of his purse.
Just like watching soccer. Just like watching soccer.
So
you got to realize Rampage at this time too was probably top 5 in the world at this weight class. Widely considered one of the great 205ers.
It was Wanderlei, Randy, Rampage, Chuck. That was the top 4.
Yeah.
So they gave a yellow card to Wanderlei there?
Vanderlei.
or Vanderlei.
Vanderlei,
was on-
because he wasn't
was
doing
on
enough.
ball.
We don't do
on top.
W's in Brazil,
Because he's
bro.
not moving on his back. Because he's just laying
Yep.
there getting beat up.
I asked
Either
my
go for
wife how to
shit
say
or stand
Wuhan
up.
earlier. She says Wuhan.
What'd you
I
say,
said,
Sean?
why you say Wuhan? We don't have W's in Brazil. I said, oh.
So basically, Wanderlei was just trying to hold on.
Trying to
get
stall.
stood up.
He was trying to stall to get a stand up.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Drops him with the short right hook.
These dudes put on some great fights, man.
Rampage.
Great fights.
Jesus.
the ring was so much better than the cage too.
The only
Like
thing I don't like about the ring is, at least you could see. That's my problem watching live is like,
The-
if you have the
the
ring, you
on-
can see everything. The cage blocks shit.
The only
No, but
problem
the
with the
cage-
ring was just getting up under the ropes. That was the only
that's annoying.
bad-
And
yeah.
But
Yeah,
that-
they could put the netting
But
in.
I
They put
prefer
the netting
that to people being able to just use the cage to stand
just
up.
stand back
Like
up.
if you
Yeah.
get taken down, you get
That's
taken
fair.
down.
That's
you
fair.
fucking deal with it.
Yep.
Like
you gotta
figure
get
it
up.
out.
You shouldn't
Either
have
do
a you shouldn't
something
have a
or get
wall.
up.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a
Yep,
wall to be
exactly.
able to get back up on. Yep.
yeah, I mean,
The
Yeah.
ring was better in so many
Oh.
ways, but
remember when Rogan was talking about like, oh, we should fight in like a football field, like, and just like so there's no barriers.
oh God. Sean's right though. I can't remember, was it M1 or whatever that was using the ring with the net around the bottom
Lots of
row?
places have the netting.
Yep.
On the
Yeah,
logo.
that is
The
right.
last one.
Netting?
That keeps you
That's
inside
perfect
the ring.
shit.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
shit.
Oh, that
perfect
looks like
shit.
it's over. Oh, maybe not. Oh, wow.
Jesus. That's the end of the first.
Did he
That's
stop
a
the
big
fight or is that the round?
That's a big
That's the
by
round.
Rampage. That's a
Oh,
10.
God,
it was very close. I was
hate
getting
that
there.
So many people don't realize how fucking great Vanderlei was, man.
They know he
That
was a
dude was-
berserker. That's what he was, man. He was a berserker.
But he
he's
wasn't.
the number one berserker in the history of mixed
He
martial arts.
wasn't just that back then. He was a fucking 18, 19 time title defending fucking champion. He was great, dude.
Yeah, he hadn't lost in 17 fights going into this
He
fight.
he was also a guy
Yep.
that would literally fight in open weight tournaments and fight heavyweights and any fucking body else. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Guys with winning streaks and titles like that today are fucking picking and choosing who they fight. That dude's
Even
like,
Tony.
yeah, oh, one-off fight against Crow Cop. Fuck it, sign me up. You know, like
Just pay me.
Even
Amy and I'll
even
fight.
today's BMF. George.
yeah, don't want fights. Yeah.
I don't want to fight that guy.
Yeah, what is up with
Oh.
that? I went to that fight.
Oh.
Went to that.
God,
one.
we're never ever gonna get Ferguson Khabib. Like next time they announce
No.
it, we're literally gonna our planet is gonna veer off course and go.
I
into
hope
the
we don't.
sun. The next time they
I'm
announce
with
it.
Brad.
She's gonna beat
I'm with Brad. I
Ferguson
don't
if they
think we
fight.
get it, and I'm okay with it. I don't think it's meant to be. Just make the
I'm not
Gaethje versus
okay.
Ferguson fight, and let's
I'm
have
not
that happen.
okay. I'm not okay with it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. It fucking sucks. That's a great fucking fight.
Wes, I've already resolved myself 3 years ago. This fight's never happening,
You're
and
smart.
you're just gonna have to do
You're
that.
smart.
Just make the Ferguson Gaethje fight because it's the best. It'll be the most entertaining fight in MMA that you can make right now. We've been talking about it since Gaethje started in UFC, and just do it, and we'll be happy with it.
That's
Forget
true.
about the Habib thing. It's
That's
not
true.
happening. It's not happening.
I think it is absolutely more entertaining. There's no.
I think
fucking
there's
doubt
a
about
very
that.
good possibility that the next fight Habib has is with McGregor.
No. He's fighting Gaethje after Gaethje beats fucking Ferguson.
Uh,
I don't
What
care
if
about
McGregor
Khabib at
fights
all.
again and then the Habib fight happens after that?
Khabib is absolutely not fighting McGregor before he fights Tony
He's
or
fighting
Gaethje.
I think-
or Gaethje.
What if McGregor fights Gaethje and McGregor then?
I don't think that's happening.
Okay.
That's
Fuck,
too.
that's a good take,
I-
though.
McGregor's got to think about some of
He's
these
fighting
fights.
Diaz
now.
next. That's what's gonna happen.
He's got to think about some
Yeah,
of
he
these
does.
fights. He does.
Because he wants to get back to the real money fight, but he has to
He
beat
can't-
somebody in order to earn kind of like
Yep.
the ability to get like that $2
He
million
needs
pay per view.
He needs a
2 million
name.
pay per view buy.
He needs a name. He needs an exciting fight, but he needs one he can win.
Cerrone was the right fight to make,
Diaz
but he
fight.
needs the next one.
He's
What are they
fighting
doing right
Diaz.
now? Oh.
Yeah, I mean Sean's right. Like, I mean,
They
you
moved
can
him back to
run.
the
You
center
can
of the
run.
cage-
You
or
can
the
run
ring,
back.
Jay.
Oh
you
yeah,
can
right.
run back McNutty and Nate right now, and it's massive. I mean, it's absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's a winnable fight.
You could
for
do
him,
that.
and then-
I guess you could do that again. I don't think they
Um,
want to do that again. Well, I mean,
I
maybe, why
think-
not? Why
I
not?
think McNutty fucking Jorge is huge, and that's a Absolutely a winnable fight for Connor.
Jorge's fighting Usman.
No, God, but see, nobody wants that.
Jorge
Nobody
doesn't
wants
want that
nobody
either.
wants-
Is other than
Yeah,
just
Jorge doesn't want that. Nobody wants that. Like,
because it's going to go the same way as the Masvidal already had a fight where he was taken down. It was Damian Maia. Damian Maia tooled on him.
anybody that fights Usman is pretty much you don't want that fight. Nobody should want to fight Usman. Not that you're not gonna you ain't just.
Wes
not
and
gonna,
I basically identified
The only
Usman
guy that
4
wants
years
to fight
ago.
Usman is like a prime GSP.
I mean, it was pretty easy. I'm not. It wasn't like some Nostradamus type prediction, but.
Wes,
Well,
how many dummies are there in this thing? We
a
called
lot.
this. We called this when he was in tough.
Well, I mean, look at all the dummies that were picking fucking KKK Kobe against him the entire time.
That wasn't us.
Hell no, it wasn't us.
We almost fucking
Ooh.
his head through the goddamn ring.
Man,
There's a big advantage of being Brazilian in pride. I'll say that.
Vanderlei's knees will literally turn you into Brock Lesnar guts overnight.
I should do a statistical analysis of fighters that come from strong soccer countries in pride. Yeah. There's probably a correlation. I remember when we did a correlation of black, there was a black zillion correlation and just how badly they were doing. And then,
Rampage starting to look a little weary again.
He's tired, man.
Yep.
He's getting hit. It's a long time for that's a pretty grueling fight. I mean, it's not like
either way, Beeb and Tony's not happening. I'm sorry.
It's not. It's never gonna happen.
The fact that the fight's been made how many times? Five now, and it hasn't happened. I mean, come on. Usually these things come in threes. It either happens the third time or it doesn't happen.
In sixes. 6 times the charm.
I mean, there's probably a probability that Khabib retires too. He doesn't need. I mean, he's good. He's good.
I think he still wants to fight Tony.
I don't think he retires, but it's going to be close.
Fight Tony.
Yeah,
does he need to? He's good.
He doesn't. He
wants to.
He's
talked about that.
He'd be the dude. He'd be the guy who retires undefeated.
Watch this shit. Watch this shit.
That right hook, man.
That was good.
Just
bang.
Knee.
Bang.
I mean, he blocked a good amount of them. He's out of the ring.
Dude, he blocked them all but one, the one that mattered, and put him through the ropes.
We were talking about knees earlier. That's probably
comes back to soccer,
5
man.
in knees all the time.
That's like a legendary clip right there, dude.
Just
through the ropes,
unconscious through the ropes, and he is.
There is such an advantage to coming from a soccer background in pride, though. Just the amount of just sheer, just the things that you're allowed to do with your legs that Like we know in the U.S. everything's hand-eye coordination and how important it is. In Brazil, the foot skills are so it's like the exact opposite. That's a huge advantage here. Oh wow, he's looking for God right now. He's on a Dada planet right there.
This fight right here pretty much cemented Vanderlei's legacy in every fucking sense.
Jesus.
Rampage was, I mean, like Brad said, widely considered these are two of the top 3 or 4 205ers in the world right now, and Rampage or Vanderlei literally knees him out of the fucking ring.
Where was Belfort at this point?
Getting beat up and shit.
Was he fighting at middleweight or is he a light heavyweight at that point?
He was fighting at kind of both, but he got beat up in Pride. Overeem beat him, I believe, at 205 in Pride. He was just so up and down, man. He just couldn't get his shit together run in. Brad, didn't Vitor had just lost to Overeem right around this time too at 205? This is around the time where he was just mind was completely fucked.
You got guillotined by Overeem.
Too busy hanging out.
That was a little bit after. That was the 2005 Grand Prix.
2005, yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Tito by split at UFC 51, and then he fought Overeem in Pride.
That was actually like a super underrated fight.
That's a nice
Tito
punch.
At UFC 50.
That was it.
Watch this. Watch it. Watch. It's fucking perfect. Bam! Like perfect on the chin, dude. That is legendary.
That's instant dead, man.
That's just for people that haven't seen it before. That is one of the all-time
Sending
great
a
knockouts
fighter
in
like that
MMA
through the
history.
ropes and just
Oh,
laying
that
there.
look at
hook
the
is
shot.
fucking
Yeah,
nasty.
that knocks out most guys.
His
That
jaw's fucking 3
Yep.
inches over.
that hook knocks out 90% of motherfuckers on its own.
But these Brazilian
Oh,
dudes should
and
just
then
Look at the blood.
Oh,
You see that blood?
Oh
oh
my god, face down, ass
just
up.
instant,
Jesus.
just
the blood
leaking.
just popped out. It was like a plump. It wasn't even like you saw no drops,
Oh.
all of a sudden just like a plump
And
of
then
it.
wow, yep.
The first camera angle, you can't see that last knee land, and then the second one, you're just like, oh,
Dude, these
he's
Brazilian
out.
Look,
these
that-
Brazilian dudes just like knees and kicks are just like
Like
levels above
Jay-
American fighters. They just are.
Jay said
Yep.
like Berserker and shit like this cemented Vanderlei as an all-time great, dude. This era
Yeah.
of Vanderlei is one of the greatest fighters ever in this sport.
Yeah,
Ever.
absolutely. And this was like the
at
very
Ran-
end
oh
of
my
it too.
God.
I think.
Wow, he's still laying out there.
Oh
It's been
my
3 or
God.
He's
4
in another
minutes.
world, man. He's
Yeah.
astroplaning, man.
Wow. I mean, how are you the same
Oh.
person after this? How can you be?
He
The
goes
crazy thing,
he goes on to be UFC champ
and
Yeah.
just has one of
Which
the
is
best
crazy.
chins ever.
Which is
Or, like,
crazy.
because he's good. Man, Rampage is
Yo,
great.
and
then
after
too.
he became UFC champion, that fight against Hendo at UFC 75, that was an underrated, like
Yep.
all-time great fight. That was awesome.
Yep.
Rampage is
Oh.
just
Oh,
you're watching
man.
two of the
Open, too.
all-time greats right here.
Yep.
All-time greats.
Man,
Yep.
he's still
Oh.
down. This is like 3, 4, 5 minutes later.
But they're all levels below Jonathan.
Well, yeah, of course they are. They always
Yeah.
they always will be. That's the evolution of the game.
And there's nothing wrong
There
with that.
there is a possibility nobody touches Dwight.
If anyone, like, if Dwight has a finish to his career like Vanderlei had to his, there's an argument between the two of them.
Yeah, it's
For
gonna
what?
well, it's gonna take John staying around way past his prime and getting
Yeah.
fucked up.
I
For
just
the,
don't think he'll do that.
I don't
I don't think
think
so
he will
either.
either.
I don't think he'll last.
I think
long
he'd
enough
do a
to
Ronda
lose
and run
enough.
for the hills.
I
I
I
don't buy it.
never
I hope
saw,
so, but I always
never-
hope so.
I never saw John even 5 or 6 years ago fighting to like that. I never see that in him. Never have. I don't see it.
Yep.
They make it. I think they make it. Him particularly makes enough money now to where those guys I think had to keep fighting mainly for some fucking money. Like
Yeah, John shouldn't have to do that.
Like, and there's a small part that they fight still because they're fucking fighters and they still have that.
Because
I
he's
can
either
do
going to
it.
jail. If he's not training for a fight, he's going to jail.
I could,
That
I,
might make
I
him stick
wouldn't be-
around
He's
too long.
just I don't
I
know.
wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
He's got a
Like,
great lawyer, man.
How many of these guys do we say, "Oh,
Great
man,
lawyer.
that dude's gonna call it this time"? And I thought GSP was completely done, and he
It's been
came
like
back for him.
5 or 6 times, Wes. How many times has John gotten in trouble and never really gotten in trouble?
I know, but he's playing with
It's
fire.
unbelievable. Like he
That's-
literally,
that's
his lawyer.
That's his second DUI.
I want
though.
his
One
lawyer.
more and he
Every-
is
When
fucked.
you-
He's great. He's like
when
Johnny
you
Cochran.
when you
Great.
have that kind of money, you get the best lawyers. There
I
are
know.
there
There's
is
still-
le- there
There's
is
still 3
levels.
strikes.
Well, there's not for Jones because he's also got to where he fucking donates money to the police force and he does training for
Yep.
the academy and he knows
And somehow you don't
he
get
knows-
charged for anything.
You grow up in it, you're around a community for 20 years, you make contacts with fucking people on the inside in the courthouses and shit. He's gonna get a lot of breaks. It would take John Jones literally hitting somebody and killing them. That motherfucker to be
My-
like,
Another
that might be
DUI,
the
he
only
be in
way,
trouble.
Wes.
I
That's the
don't
only
think I agree with Sean though. He doesn't have too many more of these. Don't get me wrong. It's to the point now to where it's like they're gonna have to do something. There's gonna end up being such public outrage if
But he always does it just after his parole is up. It's like amazing, right?
I
like
know,
or
but
like not his
it-
parole, but like his probation. Yeah,
From
it's
what
just
I've
like
heard,
it's just
if you get a third DUI, you are in trouble.
And-
No,
and-
third DUI,
in
you basically lose your license for life.
well, no,
yeah, but
in any
Or
almost
no, 10 years. I think it's 10 years.
almost any state in this country, like here, if you get a third DUI here, you get 5 minimum. Done.
Yep.
You're in jail. You're going to prison. Most states now have a 3-strike rule on DUI.
Albuquerque's bad too. It's just this is only his second official.
Wes, what is the
DUI
rule-
because
what
he
are the
doesn't get
rules for
charged with
DUI?
It's just
first
really
hit
only
and
his
run.
second offense.
Well, no, there's
What are the 1, 2, and 3?
Well, there's also things too, like
Is
your
it 6 months for the first one,
your
and whatever
first-
the fine is?
But your first DUI, you can pretty much get your first DUI expunged if you do if you do all the right things, you take all the classes.
What do you mean expunge? You lose your license for 6 months.
Well, you lose that. You do all the shit for it, but it will come off as a strike. So,
you mean like after so many years, like it won't be able to be seen by somebody if they look at your record. But you still lose your license.
It's going to be on your record. It's going to be on your driving record. You're going to do all the fines all the time for it. But if you do all that, they'll take the strike away. Then you'll have 3 more strikes.
So it's really 4 strikes, Wes.
In some states, not here. Like here, if you get 3 DUIs, you get 5 years. You're done.
5 years in jail.
And I think that's what it is in Albuquerque too.
I don't think that's the case in New Jersey. I think you get the 3rd one, you lose your license for 10 years. So
yeah,
Jersey baby.
Most states now.
At least it was the last time I looked at it. I haven't looked at it. I don't know why. I don't even know why I looked at it. I was just curious.
Yeah, and then like all DUIs.
I think it's 6 months, and then I think the second time, the first time, if you get either you choose not to take the breathalyzer, which is basically automatically
guilt.
Yeah, so that's 6 months and like up to a $5,000 fine. I guess it's called reckless driving, all that stuff. And then second time, I think if you get a second one, it's 2 years without your license. And then it's 10 years if you do it a third time.
Like,
you got to be an absolute moron if you do it more than once.
It's like 5.
The first one doesn't wake you up because basically your livelihood is completely different. I mean, try telling your job you can't drive there.
I got one when I was 20, but that didn't change me whatsoever for years. Like
that's something.
I mean, hell, dude, I had beers at the bar and fucking drove home hundreds of times. Like, shouldn't be driving. I don't do it much anymore. Like, but hell, man, when I was fucking 30, hell yeah, I'd get fucking drunk and drive home all the time.
10 years later, though,
I should have never done that. I was a fucking idiot. But like then too, like 5 years, you're clear. So that's most states. 5 years that comes off your record. Period.
Right.
So you're back to 1. You're back to none.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you go back to the 6 month thing. Yeah.
So
but that fucking guy is that guy is he's getting another strike.
Like, he loves strikes. He loves it, dude. He loves it. What can I say?
Look, and it wasn't just that. Even this past time, it wasn't that just he was out having a couple drinks or went for a ride or something. The dude was firing a fucking gun in downtown.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I really don't.
That is not some like, dude. That is not.
Wes, do you think he's just bored? Is that what it is? Is he bored with life?
I don't know, man. He has a substance abuse problem. There's no doubt about that.
Seems that way.
He absolutely has a substance.
But there's more to it than that. I feel like life. I feel like life bores him. Like he doesn't have. There's nothing pushing him. There's nothing that really truly excites him.
He doesn't answer to nobody. Most of us have to answer to somebody. Fair. We have to answer to our wives or our families. And
his wife doesn't matter because he does everything. His wife just sits there and births his children. Apparently,
he has nobody to answer to. But it's more than just that, because any normal motherfucker that's just bored and has some substance abuse ain't in downtown fucking Albuquerque shooting off their gun in the air out of their car.
It's Albuquerque, man.
That's some different. I mean, I live in Kentucky. We don't ride around downtown shooting our.
Why would you? Seems like a bad idea.
Very bad. Yeah, that guy's got some fucking problems, man. I'm with you. He's on a road to absolutely getting in some more trouble. I even besides that, say John stays completely clean, he's not the type of guy that I see sticking around like Vandelay.
He's not a long time guy, just like Khabib's not. Like these guys aren't going to be fighting when they're 36 or 37. There's nothing for. They don't need to. They're good.
The financial lets you make a little more.
Because I don't think either of them are really fighters in the mind. They're not like a Vanderlei. They're not. Their brain doesn't work that way. They're just so far superior in their skill set that it works.
And they look at it. I think John and like Khabib are so good and shit. They almost look at it just like
Cormier's the same way. He's not a fighter.
Well, it's like competition to them to see if they're better than the guy. You know,
yeah. Khabib's not that good anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the guy doesn't even show up to fight.
Brad's just trying to get me wound up.
I heard he would even fly out of Russia to fight.
Why?
Man.
Why even bother? Who needs
I
him?
mean,
He's got
I mean,
enough
I wouldn't
money to
fly
live.
to
He's got
America
enough
right
money to
now
live where
either,
he
Jay,
lives.
So,
some of the best shit I ever seen was that M1 cage out in the middle of that mountain range and
Oh,
shit.
that thing is amazing. Where I don't
Make
know
it
where that is.
happen.
The
You were
place
talking
in the
about that
mountain in
bottom net
Dagestan, it's
earlier.
awesome.
Like
Yeah.
Khabib, are you going to show up to your own town square, motherfucker? I mean, like, what?
He's gonna. I mean, he's beloved
Nope.
there. He's loved more in that country than
Tony will be
anyone is in any MMA fighters in any country probably in the world today.
There's nobody else there.
Doesn't matter. They got like a few
Tony
100,000
and
dudes
Justin
there, and it's just
Gaethje
bad.
would fight in Khabib's backyard, and Khabib would just sit there and watch, just
he
like
would.
a just
He would.
just a cuck.
And that's fine. But neither of them beats him. So I mean, that's where we go. I mean, even though I
It
said
doesn't
Tony
matter,
would win,
though, Jay.
because it's all relative.
I do feel
Sometimes
like
it doesn't matter about what you can do, but what you're willing to do.
Yeah,
I
probably right.
do feel like Khabib, as far as his skills, don't get enough credit because
No, they don't.
just because of all the other shit around him. I
The
get
cuck thing.
it. I mean, I get it. You know,
He's the best. He's the best offensive wrestler in the history of mixed martial arts.
That's not true.
That is very true.
for his weight. I don't know about all time any weight for
He's
one
the most dominant wrestler in the history of mixed martial arts.
well, I mean, history's a fickle thing because we can go back and
Wes, he hasn't lost a fight. How many other guys have
matter,
lost a
though.
fight?
GSP's a better wrestler than he is.
Is he?
Rulon Gardner's walking out right
Yes,
now, Jay.
He's not an MMA fighter.
Rulon
Yeah.
Gardner.
GSP has
Why is this
better-
happening again?
GSP absolutely has better entries and takedowns than Khabib does. There's no argument about that. Now,
And is a better athlete and
All
fought
of
better
that,
fighters.
but-
Well, that's subjective.
once he gets on top and
Wait,
starts working,
did you just say it's subjective that GSP fought better fighters than Khabib?
I guess you can say that Habib has a better chin too, doesn't he?
You
got
could
hit
say
by
that, yeah.
Yeah, one's been knocked out, one
He's
hasn't.
hit by.
Yeah.
One got
That's
knocked
why
out by
we
a fat
gotta
boy
have
from
the
Long
fucking
Island, one
fight.
hasn't.
There's
So.
literally nobody out there that could give that dude like the
Khabib only has a
scared.
47% takedown percentage.
His-
Almost. 47.
But
GSP
most
is
of his fights were in the
74.
modern era. It's a little
His
different,
take-
man.
his-
It's a
his
way
take-
different scenario.
But dude, you
Exactly. It
cannot, you
is
cannot
different.
argue that his entries and takedowns and shit are not as good as GSP, man. GSP got in on guys and got them down.
But once Habib got them down, it was a little.
No,
GSP
Yeah.
I agree.
had 4 takedowns against Koscheck.
I agree.
Who was, you know how good of wrestler he
Four-time
was.
All-American.
I know how good a wrestler he was.
No,
I want to
I agree
make
with you,
Jade watch
It's
like
still-
UFC 74 next week just
Oh,
to
God.
remind him.
It is different though once Khabib gets on top of a guy than George.
T-Bow
There is a
stuffed
little
fucking
different. There.
Khabib.
That
How
was-
many
that-
times?
That
It
was
depends
basically
when,
Habib's
though,
first
Wes. It
fight in
depends
prime
when.
time. Come on now.
Back in like the
You're right,
50s, UFC
You're-
50s,
you're basically-
when GSP got on
you're-
top of like Shirk and Trigg and those guys.
You're acting like
he fucked
GSP
them
never
up.
lost a
I'm
fight.
giving Khabib the benefit of a doubt of a little bit better competition and
And
overall since then.
Habib
but
lost to Johnny Hendricks.
There's no argument about
Jay,
all-
Khabib lost to Gleason T-Bow. Like, if we're gonna
Yeah.
go with
GSP
lost
got knocked
to
out by a fat boy from Long Island. One guy's never even been dropped.
He's
That
lost,
is
though.
that is a big mark.
It's
it
a
is-
huge mark. We're talking about historical
but you
precedent.
can- but
It's like saying Barry Bonds never took steroids. I
but
mean,
you got to cut a little in
well,
half.
he did.
You gotta
greatest
cut a
season of
little
all
in half.
time, but
When GSP did come back and showed what happened.
destroy Matt Serra.
Yeah, you got to take it a little bit in half there because
What's Khabib's best win? Dustin Poirier?
maybe
I don't know, Jay.
maybe Connor.
Barboza?
Yeah, maybe.
Johnson?
well,
Probably
Poirier is a
not.
better win than Poirier.
I think.
I mean,
probably
he
Connor.
did beat RDA pretty easily.
Yeah, but that was RDA early on.
Well, now we're coming up with what ifs. Now, I mean, you're talking
I'm
about
just
this,
saying,
you're talking about that.
Khabib's record
I'm looking at.
isn't-
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
what
look at
if-
this objectively.
What I mean, you can't
All
really
right,
bring
so-
up
I mean,
T-Bow. You
is it
can't-
McGregor his best
you
win?
can't- it's hard
come
to
off
bring up.
Belarus.
Is
was
it
a good
McGregor his
win.
best win? Historically, it
Gleason
is.
Tebow, he
How is it
lost
not?
to.
It's hard to bring up T-Bow though and not bring up Johnny Hendricks.
He
It really is.
he
You
completely
can't, like-
humbled.
But like being in a super close decision with Gleason Tebow is completely different.
No, it's not.
From being in
And
a
Hendricks at the
close
time.
decision with
It's not.
prime Johnny
It's barely.
Hendricks.
It was the start of his
Bro,
career.
one
How
guy-
do you compare
one guy is way
that?
better.
He
Stop,
was
Jay.
he was
stop.
18-0 when he fought Tebow. What the
And
fuck
he
are you talking
won.
about?
Dude,
And then he
Jay,
ran through
Jay,
everybody else.
Jay, T-Bow, and Johnny Hendricks do not even belong in the same.
No.
in the
Matt
same
Serra knocked
sentence.
out GSP.
That's true.
Can we stop
He
with this
did.
conversation?
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Yep.
And
one
then
guy's
GSP
been knocked
beat
out.
the
One guy's
shit
never
out of
even been
him.
dropped.
He got a lucky punch. We saw
And
who the
McGregor
better
was-
fighter
Actually,
was.
Jay, didn't Khabib get like rocked by Daryl Horcher?
Didn't
that
Habib?
weird-
Didn't Habib choke
Hold on,
out?
I'll be right back.
Didn't Habib? Or I should say, didn't Habib force the guy that tapped that beat your supposed best fighter of all time? Knocked him out in less than 20 seconds. Brad?
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Habib submitted McGregor, who beat your favorite fighter and your
Aldo.
supposed best fighter of all time inside of 20 seconds. We're going to play math. That's how math works.
Yeah.
That happened. That's
Jose
true.
Aldo is the greatest fighter of all time.
And
I agree.
McGregor,
Yeah, we can
yes,
equate.
and that was that. And then he went to
McGregor's like Sarah there. He got a lucky punch,
McGregor
right?
is not Sarah. Stop.
Yep.
That is a terrible comparison. I mean, come on.
We can do this. Come on.
McGregor's way better than Matt Serra historically. I mean, that
He
doesn't
got
even make
lucky.
sense. How many times?
He got lucky against Aldo.
Did he get lucky against Alvarez too?
No, that was a beatdown.
That was
Okay,
actually
well,
a great
that was a
performance.
championship fight.
That was a
He
good
did
win.
get lucky that he fought
Beat Chad Mendez
on,
too?
like,
I
6
mean,
days
Mendez on
notice.
fucking.
Oh,
off the
come on.
couch.
This is getting ridiculous. How many asterisks do you got to put against all these wins? At some point, you got to recognize that
okay,
there's
so
something
how
there.
good do you think Nate Diaz is that Nate Diaz choked his ass out and almost beat him in a 5-round main event?
An endurance
And lost to
contest.
Hermes Franca, WEC represent.
Hermes Franca.
Wait, if you
Where's
haven't,
that
if you're
reference?
still listening to this by this point,
We're going-
you
We're
should go
going into
listen
the
to
event.
my top 5 WEC with Dan
Oh yeah,
Tom.
plug that,
'cause
Brad.
That was awesome. That was fun. Dan is a good guy, and I appreciate he had me on. But top 5 WEC events
yeah,
with
that
him, go look that up.
That was good, man.
But yeah, back to what we were talking about. GSP is clearly better than Khabib.
Let me give a shout out
Let's
to our
stop
boy
this.
Dan
This is
too.
nonsense.
Yeah.
There's few guys that do the breakdown and shit that Dan does. Guy that actually competed in jiu-jitsu and shit. I got mad respect for our boy Dan. There's few out there that do the work he does, man. Really like that cat.
Khabib can
Right.
get closer if he beats Ferguson.
Brad is our own in-house
Closer?
fucking
How much closer you
MMA
want me to get?
encyclopedia, though. I will say that. That guy's memory is like 10 times what mine is.
Yep.
I don't know how he does it.
Less drugs.
Yeah,
Not like too few though.
absolutely.
You gotta hit like there's the right amount. You gotta
You got to
just-
hit that sweet spot.
yeah.
You're not at the equilibrium yet.
You,
Yeah,
you,
no.
you can't
Figure
sit
that
in your,
out.
you can't sit in your work truck all day smoking bowl after bowl and expect to have a fucking memory like
No,
like Brad does.
that's not up your alley.
nah.
Shit.
But back to GSP getting knocked out by Matt Serra.
Fuck.
It happened.
Groups happen.
It's
John Jones has never been knocked out.
It's
Not
a
even
great
close.
debate, but I think GSP coming back and winning, beating Bisping in whatever state that you want to, put him in, that elevated his career, man. Big fucking time. Brad's right too. If most people didn't even watch GSP in his early shit, that dude was so far ahead of everybody. So far ahead. His wrestling, you could even see it then, was like, God damn, this Canadian fucking karate guy can wrestle. And it was like some of the best wrestling back then. He was taking down Matt Hughes and shit. It was wild.
Not even their rematch, but their first fight. GSP like took down Hughes. He was beating Hughes
Oh, yeah.
beat
for
the shit out of him.
most of
Yeah.
the first round, and then Hughes got the armbar, and then GSP went on probably the greatest like run up to a title shot of all time, and then put in one of the greatest title performances of all time in beating Hughes.
I will say
And then lost.
between like
No,
it-
but that's what makes it so great, Jay.
But let-
That's
let's-
why it makes it so
That's
shocking.
not how it
Yeah.
works.
But and if you want to get down to if we're picking hairs and shit, like GSP was the far more exciting guy at a certain point in his career than Khabib could ever think about being. Man, his
Yeah,
like
that's kind of forgotten though.
Do you remember how much
No,
shit we
that's-
used to give
that's
Khabib
important.
because he couldn't finish
Thinking
a
that they're
fucking
like
sandwich?
5-10 years down the road.
yeah, I mean, like
I
Brad
don't know.
said,
What, I don't know what he's doing. He's just hanging out in Montreal right now. I guess eating bagels or something.
Well,
But
That's what he's doing.
counting
who's
his
going to want to
money.
go back and watch Khabib fights versus GSP fights?
Hanging out with Tom Breeze or whatever he's doing. up there.
I tell you, Brad's got a really good point there. I'm not sure there's going to be a whole lot of rewatching of a bunch of Khabib's fights to where
I'm fine.
guys
I
are going to
remember. I
watch.
got a brain. I don't need to rewatch it.
I agree with you, Jay. I think Khabib is the much more dominant guy personally, but
Thank you.
there's good points about GSP, man. That guy's a legend.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's one of the greatest fighters of all time.
But-
But I
but the re-
also recognize a zero next to somebody's name in the loss column, and that means a lot.
I think we were also mainly talking about wrestling to begin with, and they each have their better parts of
And
it.
GSP's fought better wrestlers than Khabib and out-wrestled
Exactly.
them.
That's all
There-
I was saying.
Is that his fault? Did he avoid wrestlers? I don't think
Like,
so.
like he had. There's when Khabib had some problems getting Horcher down at the beginning of the first
Oh,
round.
come on. He didn't fall in like 18 months. He didn't give a shit about the fight.
excuses. Oh, yeah.
You beat him in the first round. Who
Meanwhile,
cares?
fucking
GS
Khabib's a Band-Aid
He
and
beat him
pulls
in the
out how many
first
fucking
round.
fights.
Who
GSP
cares, Wes? Horcher.
Look, GSP has the all around.
Dude's 29-0.
He has the
Enough.
all around
Enough.
best
This is ridiculous.
wrestling.
This
Best
is
wrestling
ridiculous.
to get it to the mat. Once somebody is down on the mat and somebody's on top of him, Khabib's a little better. Khabib does more
A
damage.
little?
But
Yeah, a
Khabib,
little.
Khabib
Yeah.
does not. He does not have anywhere near the entries in the takedown.
Sorry, 28-0. Sorry. Let me
Do you
rephrase.
Do you think Khabib's entries are as quick and as
cares?
No, because he can't
I know. I can see his record. That's all that matters.
Jay,
We're talking about technical. Oh,
No,
well,
we're
one
splitting
guy
hairs.
did this in 2006 against Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes can barely walk right now. He got hit by a train.
Okay, so here, okay,
Jay?
so Jay, if Khabib loses, how far he goes way down below GSP, correct?
I don't even know what you're refraining. I know there's some Canadian bias
taking
going on,
Matt Hughes down right now?
on the one side of my chat.
All I'm saying is that if
Jay,
if Khabib
which
loses, he
wrestler
goes
One
that
guy
way
lost
down.
to the guy.
faced
The
is
dude
in the
lost
top
once to a guy
five
who ended up getting hit
wrestlers
by a
that
train.
GSP has beaten.
Jason, can he take him down now? He's been hit by a train.
Guy doesn't want to live.
Dude.
Ay, ay.
GSP is easily the best in getting in. Like Khabib struggles to keep guys down now. He absolutely does.
Yeah, only gets half his takedowns.
50%.
The world's different than it was 12 years ago, man. The wrestlers are better now. People are better at defending
Cost
takedowns.
checking.
Who cares?
No,
Guys really lost
no.
a round.
No, I
What
wouldn't go back.
wrestler has he fucking?
Hey,
What
dude,
wrestler has he been charged to fight? Tell
man,
me. Explain this to
seriously.
me.
I mean, he got stuffed by Glaze T-Bow. That's all.
We're talking about one fight, one time? Are we
I
talking
mean,
about
he-
knockout?
Jay,
He-
Jay,
Has Khabib
Jay,
McGregor
ever-
stuffed
Jay,
him.
Has Khabib
You
ever
gotta
had his
admit-
hand raised in a fight? Has he
you
never
gotta-
not had his hand raised? Answer the question.
you
Answer
have
the
to
question.
admit, has
Answer the
Khabib-
question.
That's
Has
not the
Khabib
entirety of
ever
everything.
Answer the
fought?
question.
Khabib's never fought a four-time All-American, a wrestler of that caliber. He's
There,
never. I mean,
who's
that
the four-time
means
All-American wrestler in this
Josh
division?
Josh-
The guy from New York. What's his name? Put him in a fight. Let's see what happens.
but he wouldn't be able to take him down either. Like,
Are you sure?
Yes, probably.
He's twice the size of him. That guy's not even shouldn't even be a lightweight.
Look, dude, we agree mostly on this. I
I
think
know you and I
stuff
agree the
four of
Canadians
his
are biased.
I just
I
don't-
don't know
I
what's
just-
going on.
I just don't think Khabib has the fucking entries and the takedowns that GSP has. He just doesn't. It's proven in
His
statistics.
entries aren't
You're
as
the
good.
stats
That's
guy.
pretty clear.
You're the
Khabib
numbers
went sub
stats guy.
50% takedowns.
Like
against
I don't
Conor
know what to
McGregor.
say to somebody who doesn't think that GSP is a better MMA
Did he
fighter
submit
than
Conor
Khabib.
McGregor? Did he submit him?
I don't know.
He went under 50% on
Did he submit him?
widely considered as
Did
the
Conor
best
McGregor
He would have
offensive
submitted him
wrestler.
earlier if
no?
he had GSP
In
wrestling.
MMA
I know
history.
that.
Oh, okay. Right.
Look, Khabib is so much better on top when he gets there. He causes a lot of damage, but man, GSP's widely considered the greatest
Damage.
offensive
Let's not
wrestler.
get crazy. It's pitter patter on top.
Are we talking about that? Or are we talking about better fighter? What are we talking about at this point?
I mean,
I mean, when
better
we first
all
started
around.
talking, we were talking about wrestling.
The
not
only
complete
thing-
Let's
fight.
talk
no,
about
we
better fighter,
evolved
Jay.
from that.
The only
The conversation's
thing
evolved.
The only thing that Khabib has is that Jay, like better all around fighter, like skills. Like we're getting into some
We're
dicey
talking about
subjects
skills.
here.
We're talking about wins and losses at this point. One guy's
know,
got
but
his zero on the
if
L
Khabib
column, and
loses,
one
he
guy got
drops off
knocked
a
out by
cliff
Matt
compared to
Serra. That's the
GSP.
end of the story.
Khabib will never be the offensive fighter on his feet that George St. Pierre was. It's just
One guy got knocked out by Matt Serra. The other guy's never been finished by anybody. And that's where the discussion ends.
Man.
I'm sorry. When we're talking about
I
the best,
am
best of
so
all time,
pumped.
that's how this game works.
I generally
Justin
agree.
Gaethje is gonna knock out Khabib before
He
the end
has
of
to
the year.
fight him first. We'll see if that ever happens.
I generally
matter if
agree
nothing
with you, Jay. I think Khabib's the all around just more dominant guy. He's got the O. I'm with you. You got
This
to
is
like
like the
give
John Jones debate. I mean, John Jones has had some fights, especially recently, where not a lot's happened, but the guy has had this happens every time he wins. Every time he fights, this happens.
Barely though lately. which
It
is
doesn't matter. It goes
sketchy.
like this. It doesn't. It's not up. There's no one getting their hand raised. Here's a hand raised. Okay,
It's
it
fair.
happens every time. Until that doesn't happen,
Hey, you got
Sorry.
to be perfect. You got to be a little bit lucky.
in order to be the best, you have to beat the best, right?
Yes, but Khabib hasn't beaten the best.
Look, Jay,
Well,
Jay,
he's already the
Jay,
best. Don't beat
you
him. Prove me
gave-
wrong.
You gave up on Khabib like 7 shows ago. Stop
I didn't
this
give
fucking
up.
argument.
I didn't give up. I know that
You
fight's
said
not
he was
happening.
losing.
You
said he
know
was
I
losing.
know that fight's not happening.
Hey, that's what it is now. You just knew the fight wasn't even happening.
Of course I know.
So
Wes,
you win. You're winning no matter what. You win
Wes,
no matter
both
what.
you and I know this fight's not happening.
True.
Which fight?
The Khabib and Tony fight.
Wait, did Khabib drop out again?
The fight's not even scheduled.
He tends to do
He
that.
went home. He had to pick out
Where's
new.
the May 9th fight happening? There's
you had
already
You
a
had to
big-
pick out new curtains?
He had to pick out new. He had to pick out new colors for his wife's fucking headdress.
That's fine.
Oh, Jay. You're so naive. I love it.
Jay's
That
the
was good.
best. Jay's
That
the
was good.
best.
Well, we'll probably be back next week with a Strike Force card.
Maybe.
And
Yeah,
Mike-
get our 3 listeners. Give us a fucking a Strike Force card. Like
Yeah,
maybe was the Nashville
Oh,
card
shit.
even good? Was it even a good card?
no, not really.
What was the? I
Was
don't
it-
remember what card that was.
Hendo,
That-
it was
that was
all
the brawl
decisions, I'm
card.
pretty Sure.
Oh,
So what? Maybe one of
But the
those
brawl.
cards that had wasn't some of the Fedor cards and shit good? Where Fedor started getting beat and shit. Didn't they have some pretty good cards?
There's a couple okay ones. We'll,
wasn't there a Strike Force card at the in East Rutherford by Giant Stadium? I think it had Bigfoot on it. Maybe Bigfoot versus Reem.
Wasn't that Bigfoot Fedor?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was Bigfoot Fedor. Yeah,
We'll have to see.
that might have been Fedor's first fight. In
Oh,
Strike
shit.
Force, wasn't it?
I see we got our boy. I finally got back on the computer.
Oh,
There
nice!
we go.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank-
Fedor,
appreciate it.
Bigfoot was in.
I see we had our boy Dan in there.
Which
Yeah, finally jumped in.
That one's not a bad one. That's
hell's our boy
5.
Dan?
That's an all
Dan
heavyweight
Tom.
main card.
Oh, that
all
Dan.
finishes.
Oh, that's an all heavyweight main card.
All
Oh shit!
finishes, yeah.
that could be fun.
We
There
should
it is.
do UFC 146 then. It was the same
Ooh,
thing.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I was live for that one.
That's a
Were
good
you?
one.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, all right. We should do a
What do we do? A
vote.
heavyweight focus
No,
card?
we,
That sounds
we,
like an
we
idea.
should do a vote of cards that we were live for.
I'll put
So-
mine on there. I have a couple.
Mine's going to be UFC 79. I'll throw on there.
I got 146.
I'm
My
gonna,
very first,
I gotta look up
first
the
card
cards,
was here was Campman versus Diego.
Oh, KFC Yum Center.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna Is it our first ever
Oh,
card?
no, it's like
No,
an exclamation
the
point.
best one that
Yeah.
you've been to.
I know it is.
Okay, I have.
That's one.
two.
Our Nashville card was pretty good than Matt
That was
Brown
pretty good.
versus.
But
Yeah.
in,
Versus Eric Silva.
Yeah,
Yep.
Eric Silva
We
card.
got
Yeah,
some
that was a
mom.
great. That was a
Yo,
great
that
main
was
event.
like the rise of Mom Quit and Amanda Nunes at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
All right,
yeah,
so
that was the start of Amanda Nunez's fucking run. She was like a 2-1 dog.
my first ever UFC card was January 2012, UFC 142 in Rio.
Ooh,
Rio.
Aldo versus Mendez main event, and Belfort versus Rumble co-main event.
Ooh,
The,
that's
the
pretty
fight,
good.
the main card started off with the Edson Barbosa Terry Edom fight.
oh.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a
Man.
pretty
My
ridiculous
second
card.
favorite
Yeah.
I
card.
know that Jay said that one, but UFC 134, which was like the one before that in Brazil, where
Yeah,
Big
so that's the
Nog,
that was the first one.
yeah, where Big Nog fought Schaub and like Shogun fought Forrest again. That would be a
Anderson versus
card.
Okami. Yeah.
Yeah.
My second, I guess, my personal, I call it my favorite card outside of that one was at the Izod Center right across from the Izod Center and
It
next
was
to
the card that Lawler killed Lidland.
it was a UFC,
Yeah.
UFC on Fox 3, May 2012. The main event was Nate Diaz and Jim Miller.
Oh man,
What's better
that's
is
true.
when,
Though we
also
should
had
do
the
like
Alan
better is when
Alan
Vitor
Belcher
killed.
Morris fight, one of my all
Yeah,
time
that
favorite
was a
fights.
fun fight.
And
What's
also had
better is
Lamar
when
Johnson,
Vitor
Pat
killed
Marriott.
Lindland and he was doing the fucking leg shake. That's a better Lindland death fucking fight.
you know what everybody,
That card also
what
had
everyone's forgetting
it was
is,
Terry Ferguson's last loss.
Oh, when he lost to
Michael Johnson, 30-27 by decision. That's
that's
the
crazy.
last time he lost was 8 years ago. I know, it's
Ridiculous.
wild.
All right, you know what we should do though is Affliction 2.
Oh, we haven't seen an affliction card yet. Wow.
Fedor and
Dude,
Larlovsky.
Oh,
Yeah.
got, like-
missile.
I was just saying that. Was that the one where Vitor killed
That's what
Lindland?
he's talking about though. That's where he's
Oh, that's
where,
the Lawler one?
where Fedor made Lidland's leg shake.
His leg
Oh,
fucking
I
jumped.
think I'm
Yeah.
in. I think we're decided.
That affliction card
do
is
an
great,
affliction
man.
card.
It is great, man.
Is
That's
that
a great
on
card.
Fight Pass, Sean?
I
Yeah,
have no
Yeah,
idea.
that's on
Fight
Fight Pass.
All right,
Yeah.
then we can do that. I think
Affliction 2, Fedor Arlovsky.
That was the Scud missile Fedor and the
Yep.
fucking Lindland shaking leg. Yeah, it was
that could
great.
be
Dude.
our last, classic watch.
We got time.
New
What
event.
are you talking about? Last classic watch.
We
Jay?
got time, bro.
I don't think May 9th
Before we
is
get back to
happening,
live
but-
action, May 9th. Come on.
We got time.
We're going
bro.
to Jacksonville. We're going to Daly's place. You know we're going there.
Hey, if we could all just have the mayor of Las Vegas, everything would be back to normal, dog.
Apparently, the Jacksonville mayor is right on par with the Vegas.
The whole governor's right on par.
Get
Fuck it.
back together. Come on.
Let me put my mask on sideways and tell y'all all to get back to fucking work.
Jesus Christ.
From sideways mask, the governors had said they didn't know it was asymptomatic until 10 days ago. What a country, dog. What a fucking country.
Florida, baby.
It's like they don't listen during these, conference calls. They, probably just watching a movie or something. I don't know what they're doing.
Jesus Christ.
That's what everyone keeps saying. They're like, yeah, there's definitely gonna be fights May 9th. Sorry. I'm
I don't
like,
know. It sounds like it's happening. We're back to this game again.
like it's Florida. You know they're gonna fuck this up, right? Like,
Royally.
yeah,
It's gonna get so bad that they're gonna have to. I mean, I got $25 on it happening, so I'll take the money if it happens, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
It ain't happening.
I think I got plus 250 or some shit.
Nope.
Like that.
I just can't see it, man.
there might be like one or two fights that are on that card now that happen. Like Nico Price, he's already in Florida.
Of
You're in
course.
Florida. Fuck it. Why not?
He'll probably fight somebody, and that's it.
He's,
I mean, half the
he's fighting
fighters
Luke.
are
He's in Florida
ATT
too.
fighters. Yeah, they're all ATT fighters. Fuck it. Let them fight each other. Who
There's
cares?
You guys thought the quality of UFC fighter went from like here to here over the last decade, but now during coronavirus 2020,
Yeah, a lot of muscles being lost right now.
I mean, like who wants this shit anyway? Though, like
Just make them
nobody can train. Like gyms are all closed. They're training.
Right?
Wait,
Like,
what? No one's making
it's Glover time. It's fucking Glover time. This is his era. This is the Glover era. It's
Wow.
all gym training. It's all-
Dude, the next 3 UFC champions are all they're all fighting out of
Glover, he's
Nothing wrong
fucking,
with that.
he's 3-weight champ. He's from heavyweight to 185. It's all Glover. Training with
In
teammates.
honor of the WEC show that I just did with Dan, I want Glover Sokaju 2.
Man, he's
Give me
going
that
in
fight right
he's
now.
going in the vault,
That's
dude.
not ending well for Sokaju.
He's going in the vault. No, not in these times, man. I mean, when your only training is in a
I don't think it was ended well before these times, but during these
Yeah,
times,
but Glover's like Bane. He was born in this shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you're
level,
when
man.
you're born in a 1.5 car garage, dog. I mean, it's your
1.5,
time, bro.
yeah,
It's your
Car and
time.
a golf cart. I mean, we're talking about Greenwich, Connecticut. I mean, it's the big time. Golf carts.
You
There's
park
more golf carts than cars.
you'll park a whole 88 fucking caddy in that 1.5 car garage, baby. This is Greenwich.
Oh fuck. So yeah, I guess
Wow.
maybe next week we'll do Affliction 2,
That sounds like
and
fun.
then we'll chat about if UFC 249 is canceled yet.
It's canceled. Spoiler
It was
alert.
canceled,
It
and it's
won't-
back.
It won't be announced, and I just hope to the lead up about a week out, Dana goes dumb shit again and just all over everything. I'm the shit. It's happening.
amazing
You know
how
what?
many times
If
he's said
if
something
Dana
about
is gonna cancel a card and then restart it again with the same name, this should be UFC 151.
There we go.
I want it.
Sure. What
I
was
need
that
it.
originally supposed
Jones
to be?
Hendo.
Was it Jones and Henderson? Yeah.
Yeah,
Where was that fight? I don't know. Atlanta?
I
I think it was Colorado.
I want the island.
No,
Is that too
dude.
much to ask? I'm like, I want the island now. Like
Just get there. Do
they
it.
got my hopes up. I really thought we was gonna see beach fights. Like I'm fucking kind of let
That's
down.
that's
It's
a month
still
away.
possible.
That's a month.
There's
away.
only so
Hold
much
your horses.
Bodog you can watch.
Epstein Island?
Dana,
151
you'll
was a
you'll
Vegas
never be
card.
Calvin, you fucking prick.
Oh,
All right. Well, I think that does it. We're at 2.5 hours.
That was a
Wow.
it is.
Made it fun at least.
Ray had to go on a Khabib rant there for.
This made it. I think this is one of our best. I think the listeners, the viewers. I don't know what you call them now that it's a video show. This is one of our best shows that we've had in a long time.
We've been doing this so long, I'm not even high anymore.
there we go.
This is a fun show. I'm looking
I'm
forward.
very high and starting to wine buzz. So. It's been a while.
Shifting
Well,
the gear.
we had fun, and we'll be back with Affliction next week. And we'll see if we're right and this thing gets canceled. UFC 249. Until then, sayonara.